Okay, well, welcome back to Raider Nation Hotspot, everybody. I'm your host, Hot Beavers, joined by the incredible Raider D. We're live today. We're going to do a deep dive into, some of the latest Raiders news and answer some calls, see what you guys are thinking. Just kind of do that thing. Get this set, okay, and then we got Western Conference on the way, so I'm going to get him in here also, and we'll have the whole crew together. How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm just been editing videos all day and getting ready for the week, and we got a lot of stuff going on. Big projects coming down the works that we'll be announcing soon. So excited for those, and just ready for some Raider football. That is for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna do some pretty standard stuff where we just kind of go over what's going on in the Raiders world right now, and just kind of waiting on one more person. I'm going to send out a link right now and just make sure he's got an opportunity to come on in.
I
So,
just sent it to him.
oh, you did? Awesome.
Yeah, he said he was waiting for it, so he should have it now. He
Okay,
said he's
awesome.
he's putting it in his laptop right now.
All right. Salute to my boy Raider Ryan, who's always showing out. What's up,
Raider
Raider Ryan?
Ryan.
He's the man. And yeah, we're gonna take a look at a couple different things. We're gonna look at the schedule. I'm gonna take a little bit of a deeper dive into the schedule and look at the matchups. See what guys are thinking about that. We're going to take a little bit of time to look at some player spotlights and do some predictions based on some players here. Um, I also wanted to take a little time just to review the offseason as a whole, um, and some of the media reaction to us as a team, and kind of our thoughts on that. I want to take a little bit of time also to look at the primetime games and get reactions from everybody. I think every segment I would like someone to come on who's a fan to give us the fan perspective on what we're talking about. Um, and then, just kind of wanted to go over June 1st and the possibilities there as far as, who we add, going to have some money to burn. So that's going to be exciting. So just as a preview so everybody knows what we're doing and what we're going to talk about. So first off, as far as schedule, the Raiders, obviously, the schedule just dropped recently, and they're playing Baltimore in week 2. Um, Raider D, you had some particular thoughts on that game. Do you want to kind of share what you're feeling about week 2 versus Baltimore?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that as a loss for the Raiders. I don't. We've already shown the recipe for beating Lamar Jackson, and that is defensive line. If the defensive line can get after him and impair his vision for his throwing lanes, get him moving with his legs, his natural inclination is to go back and revert to a running quarterback. And he tends to lose perspective of where the wide receivers are, and he'll make mistakes, and he'll try to pick up the first downs with his legs instead of trying to throw the ball. It's the difference between him and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is nowhere near as athletic as Lamar Jackson. He's nowhere near as fast as Lamar Jackson. And because of that, he utilizes his scramble ability to throw the ball down the field just to extend the play long enough to get somebody open. And he always keeps his eyes locked downfield. Whereas Lamar Jackson has gotten a lot better at keeping his eyes downfield than he was in the past. However, it is still his natural inclination to just put his head down and try and run with the ball. And if the Raiders defensive line in particular, and our linebackers and our safeties can get after him, then it's a recipe for us to win through defense on that game. And on the flip side, all we have to do is keep him off of the field. And Luke Getsy's offense is perfect for that with that West Coast offense. It is a high third down conversion type of an offense. And we added a spectacular piece in Brock Bowers who gives you that superpower ability to convert third downs because he's such a mismatch out there in the middle of the field. So I think that's how we beat him. We beat Baltimore simply by keeping Lamar Jackson moving around, get his eyes off of his wide receivers and start worrying about running. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we play ball control, time management, run hard, get those third downs, hit Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer over the middle, Jacoby Myers, and then, obviously feed the ball to Devontae Adams with wide receiver screens, bubbles, slant routes, get him in the game at all costs. And then from there, it's just, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Who can control in the fourth quarter? And I think if we can do that, then we win the game. So I actually have us picking to win that game, despite every professional talking head out there having that as a loss for us. In fact, I seen one board the other day where I think it had us going 0-4 to start the season.
Ooh.
0-4.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, so this is why we do this show, because if you just listen to national media, you won't know anything about the Raiders. So shout out to my boy Lolo Ruelas, to Scott Case, to El Capitan Rafucho in the house. Thanks for showing out. But that's an interesting thing, because I think you kind of convinced me on that game. You pick a schedule, you look around and say, okay, on the road to Baltimore, if we're going to lose a game, maybe that's it. But then you made a good point about how they couldn't even block Max last time we played. And he just absolutely, terrorized their whole offense. And then we're better. Obviously, we've added Christian Wilkins, and then you've got Coons, who's, blossomed in that meantime. And hopefully we'll see Tyree take that next step. So,
bro, have you seen the viral video of Tyree just annihilating the bags?
Yeah, I've never seen a person. That's insane. Like, I don't know if people understand what that means when you're just slapping the bags to the floor and they don't get back up with your left hand. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, he's swatting those bags like they're flies.
Yeah.
Now, this has always been the thing with Tyree Wilson, is he's always been a physical specimen, right? But his issue has been the one-trick pony thing of always trying to bull rush. And I think that this year in the offseason, he's fully healthy. He's like looking ripped and lean and mean and ready to go. And I think that they're really working with him on his hand and foot technique.
What's up, y'all?
Because if he takes over, that it's lights out, man. Because I think that if Tyree Wilson, he is physically better, physically more gifted than Max Crosby. What makes Max Crosby so great is his motor is unmatched and his hand fighting skills is unmatched. You give that motor and that hand fighting skills to a guy with a body like Tyree Wilson, and Tyree Wilson gets 24 sacks a year. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's hopefully what Tyree's going to do. Got Western Conference up in the house. Salute, brother. It's been too long, man.
What's up, y'all?
You be working too hard.
Yeah, man. Real. You work way too hard, man.
Is my my microphone good? Is it working?
No, everything's good.
Okay, audio's good, cool. Video's good. You're looking good, especially with that A's hat on. You're looking cool, bro.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. Salute to my guys. Yeah, man, I've been working, man, just grinding, just grinding at the grindstone, man. But when I do have time, I always like to be with y'all and the Raider Nation. So thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure, as always, to be here. So thank you guys so much.
And I'm honored to have y'all.
Right, it's the three amigos, man.
It's the amigos.
We're together once again. The three amigos doesn't work unless you have all three.
That's right.
It's kind of the key part of the name.
It.
Yeah, I mean, how
Raider Ryan, salute, brother.
Yeah. Salute to Raider Ryan. Salute to Ernest Biaggi. Let's read this one. He says, if ALC keeps us around 24 points a game, our defense can afford to give up 17 to 20, and we're winning 10 to 11 games in 2024. What do you guys think about that statement?
Let me jump in with that because I just watched a fantastic breakdown of Luke Getzey's offense. I know you had yours, which was phenomenal, and then I just watched another one by All Aboard Raiders, who really did a fantastic job. If you guys haven't seen his video, he just dropped it today. You got to watch that video.
It's good.
His 2020 season, where he was the passing coordinator for Green Bay, right? And granted, like he even admits, yes, they had Aaron Rodgers, but they did not have the offensive weapons that the Raiders have right now. They relied heavily on a 3 tight end set, and they are nowhere. Like their best tight end would be our 3rd tight end on this team that we have right now. And so the way that Luke Getzey's offense is set up is based off that 2020 Green Bay Aaron Rodgers MVP year where he threw 48 touchdowns, and they had an 80% conversion rate in the red zone.
Yeah.
If you can, we had last year 48%. If we can just get to 60, 65%, we're putting up 28 points plus per game. And he really utilizes the way that they like to utilize the running backs is that running back by committee. And yes, Zamir White will be the bell cow, but it's not going to be like what we did with Josh Jacobs, where you run him into the ground and then he's not available at the end of the season. That's not Luke Getzey's. That's not the Green Bay way of doing things. They preserve their running backs. So instead of Zamir getting 40 touches per game, he might only get 15 to 20. And then our other running backs are going to come in, and you're going to utilize these guys like Laube as a hybrid wide receiver slot guy. So I'm actually quite excited. And All Aboard Raiders said something that was really, really good, which is, we were all in on Kingsbury, me especially. I was cheering the Kingsbury. I wanted the air raid offense. I wanted big points. I wanted this. I wanted the flashy, right, come in. And like he said, man, this is a blessing in disguise, because when you look at what Kingsbury's offense can do, and you look at the 2020 season with Green Bay when Getzey was the passing coordinator, it is a night and day difference. It's not even close. Kingsbury doesn't even come close. And then the second thing, and then I'll hand this off to Western, is, do we really want an offensive coordinator who's going to bounce the second he even sniffs a better deal somewhere else? Absolutely not. Luke Getzey is perfect for this organization. He is a blue-collar guy. He is going to get in there and work his butt off, and he's not going to just bounce the second he gets a better offer somewhere else. He is now a Raider. He has embraced the silver and black. And I'm looking for great things from him. I'm looking for great things from this offense. And I really think if anybody can get the best out of Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, I really think that it's going to be Luke Getzey, because Aaron Rodgers never had a better year before or after Luke Getzey was his passing coordinator. You can say all you want about Aaron Rodgers being a Hall of Fame guy, and that's why they did blah, 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 blah. Then why wasn't he able to replicate that in 2021, 2022?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I was big on getting Kingsbury as I covered that whole thing, but I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it feels like secretly behind closed doors he was kind of tied to either Jaden Daniels or Caleb, and which is why, when he got that offer from Washington, he packed up his bags overnight, and he bounced out over there, But back to him though, but like, say I feel like if you give him or a defense some time, they're gonna figure out what he does. Like, for example, with the Cardinals, like the first 2 years, he came out firing, he's points, but then the NFL defenses knew what he was doing, solved it, and they cracked that code. And back to Luke Getzey, Raider D, you said it perfectly. Him and Rodgers, they had their best stats at numbers when they were paired up, And when he left, barring his ankle injury on the Jets, you know what I mean. I don't know if Rogers is a good player and he could ball, but can he put up the same numbers as opposed to being under that Luke Getsy offense? And I think that the Raiders are in a good position to have Getsy because he's an experienced person who worked with a great quarterback, and what he could bring to the table for us is beneficial. And I think in the long run, in that tenure, it's going to be great for us. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I've done a deep dive into Getsy. Um, we got some stuff coming out on the offense pretty shortly here. But the more I look into what he runs, the more excited I get based on our personnel. Um, we are really set up to be extremely dangerous in the red zone, like Raider D was talking about. I mean, if you look at what our options are in the red zone, we have our fourth red zone option is as good as some teams number one option
Yeah,
in red zone.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to pay dividends. I think when you have that many options, it usually works itself out. Before you came on, we quickly talked about the schedule,
Okay.
and Raider D made a pretty strong argument for why he thinks we're going to win in Week 2 against Baltimore on the road. I
Okay.
don't know if you've heard it, but basically he makes the point that they couldn't block Max Crosby in the first place. We've gotten
Yeah.
better. Yeah, we know that if we start harassing, Lamar, he
Yeah.
gets a little
Ruffled.
flustered, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's not. He made the point he's not Patrick Mahomes when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
He starts to kind of revert back to running and that sort of stuff, and those are
Yeah.
the games that they lose, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Week 2? Because
So since Baltimore lost their defensive coordinator there, um, I believe that it gives us a better chance to win. But I respect, our opinions, but I just think under that Harbaugh system, he's been doing it for a long time. I just believe that that's going to be a game that I don't see us beating Baltimore, honestly. And I have three scenarios how I see us going forward. So with our top ceiling, best outcome, and this is just me here. I can see us getting only two losses, and that's going to be week 2 at Baltimore, and it's going to be week 13 at the Chiefs. And then right after that, my scenario number 2 is we're going to have 4 losses only. That's going to be week 2 against the Ravens, week 7 against the Rams, week 9 against the Bengals, and then week 13 against the Chiefs. And then the worst outcome, I see us getting 7 losses, and that'll be at Baltimore week 2, the Rams week 7, the Chiefs week 8, the Bengals week 9, the Chiefs again week 13, the Jaguars week 16, and then the Chargers on week 18. But bottom line, like the worst comes to worst, we're gonna have 10 wins, and I think we're gonna make the wild card at least. So that's the
makes sense.
3 I have out there.
Okay. Yeah. Raider Ryan says hopefully Lamar Jackson will be running for his life, and the Baltimore D will be a good test for our young O line early in the year, which I think is a good point.
Mm,
It's going to be how good does that O line actually play, because that Baltimore defensive line is no joke.
yeah,
They're
Yeah, they got Justin Matabuke, who I was calling for us to get.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Dude's a
man.
stud. But you know what?
I
He
really
was
wanted to
only
get
a
him too.
stud. He had his stud breakout year last year. Let's see if he follows up. Some guys get the bag and they fall
Yeah.
off.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So it sounds like you both are concerned about that Rams game, which I am not. I think the boogeyman is gone. And I don't think they're.
Well, they don't have
the
Sam
same
Darnold
team.
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam Darnold. Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
no,
yeah,
sorry. I mean, Aaron Darnold. Sorry, wrong
Aaron
Darnold.
Donald. Aaron Donald.
Two
Yeah.
completely different players.
Yes. Yes. One
They
of
don't
them
have
is not a
Aaron
boogeyman.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more
Yeah.
Aaron Donald.
I mean,
You
for me,
know.
I have us having at most 3 losses.
Okay.
I think that we start out 7-0. I know that's a bold statement to make for the Raiders, but I believe that when you look at our biggest struggle is going to be that Baltimore game. It's in Baltimore. We got to go from L.A. all the way to Baltimore from one week to the next. It's on the road. We don't get a home game until week 3. If we can squeak by, and I by no means am I saying we're going to dominate Baltimore. I think as I gave my formula for how we're going to beat them, which is you have to keep Lamar Jackson running around the field and get him
Yeah.
flustered. That's when he makes mistakes. That's when he reverts to his old self of looking down and just trying to pick up the first downs with his legs. And then with our offense, the Luke Getsy offense, it's that, 2020 Green Bay offense where they had the fewest punts in the NFL that year. They actually had more touchdown passes than they had punts, and that shows you that offense is predicated on keeping the offense on the field. It's also going to be very beneficial for Aiden O'Connell because it's a 3-step, maximum 5-step drop back. So he's getting rid of the ball quickly. And you have that's how you eliminate a dominant defensive line, which Baltimore has, a very well-disciplined, very well-playing defense, is get rid of the ball quickly and then have a really good run game. If we can do that in the fourth quarter, it's going to come down to who's more hungry, who wants it the most. And I think that the Raiders, coming off a victory from the Chargers and putting it to one Harbaugh brother, would love nothing more than to put it to the other Harbaugh brother.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, that's going to ignite a fire underneath the entire Raiders organization, the Raider Nation. And we literally just beat the 2 Harbaughs. So
Yeah,
now
Harbaugh brothers,
Carolina has to come and face that kind of energy. We're going to dominate. Then the Cleveland Browns have to come and face that. We're going to dominate. And, of course, the Denver Broncos, who don't even have a quarterback. I mean, yes, they drafted one, but he's a rookie. He's never thrown on average for over 6 yards. That's not going to work in the NFL. He's going to have to stretch the defense, or the defense is going to stretch him, as I've said before. So we're going to dominate them in Denver. And it's a warm weather game because usually we play Denver in Denver later in the season where it's really cold, and our quarterbacks tend to, have a problem with that. But it's going to be in Denver during, a warm month. So that's going to be good for us. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are relying on Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. You don't know which one's going to be. That's going to be it's already rumors are coming out that that's a cantankerous relationship between the two of them. So that could blow them up, and that could be a good victory for us at home. And then we have the Rams. This is going to be another tough one, but I think that we can squeak that out. I think our first loss is going to come either week 8 or week 9 against the Chiefs or against the Bengals. Hopefully, we can beat the Chiefs in week 8 at least because it'll be at home. We need to avenge them winning a Super Bowl in our – God forbid they go to the 50-yard line and do some kind of dance on the shield like they were doing at the Super Bowl. So hopefully we can beat them there. I think that's where our first loss comes. Miami's going to be another difficult game. It'll be all the way down there in Miami. And then we have KC. Again, that's going to be a Friday night game. That'll be another difficult game. It'll be in KC. It could be another potential loss there, depending on how they're playing. Stomp out the Falcons. Jaguars, I think we beat them. And then, of course, we just have to smash Derek Carr against the New Orleans Saints. And
Absolutely.
then we finish up with the LA Chargers. And I think that this is going to be a loss. And I say that because I think we've already won the AFC West. We have already locked in a first seed in the playoffs, and there's nothing to play for, and we rest our guys. And I think that's the only possibility the Chargers have of getting a revenge game is because it'll be a nothing game for us. That's my prediction. I know it's bold, and I just hope I'm right.
Yeah,
Me too.
Back to the Chargers. So I think for sure week one we're gonna get the we'll beat them, but when we play them the second time, I feel like it'll be more difficult because Harbaugh will have his team and all that ironed out as he's going through the season. So that one is like why I could see if we do get a loss when we play them.
And that also depends on Justin Herbert actually being able to complete a season for once.
Yeah, yeah.
You never know. I mean, he may not even be available for that game.
That's true.
Like last year.
Well, yeah, he may not be. I will say this. I agree that we will have locked up the AFC West, but knowing Antonio Pierce, I think he plays the starters long enough to go ahead and sweep the division because I think that's what we're doing this year. So I'm going to call it now.
I mean, but look at who our backups are. Let's say it's AOC's a starter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So Minshew gets to come in and like it's still like a first string team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So even with that, like you take out obviously you would probably want to sit Devontae. You don't want to risk him.
Exactly.
You'd probably sit somebody like Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer and let our other tight ends come in. But our other tight ends are very capable as well. Fotheringham's a good receiving tight end, and then our 6'8" guy is a red zone monster.
Harrison
Bryant's a fantastic blocker, great veteran tight end. And then we have such depth on the offensive line now that getting those guys to come in and get some reps. Even if we sit most of our starters because we've got everything wrapped up, we still might win that game because for the first time in my memory, we have depth on pretty much every key position within the team.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to my boy A-Train in the house who showed up.
What up, A-Train?
What's up?
And this is another thing too. Like Mark Davis is finally rich, right? The Davis family has always been rich, but they weren't rich. And this is why we almost always had excessive salary cap because they would not go and pay big money for those important players, which would give us the depth that we have. Well, now since Mark Davis has moved the team to Vegas, he has quadrupled his family's wealth. And so when it was like, hey, we want to go give the bag to Christian Wilkins, he was like, go do it. I got the money now. So moving the Raiders to Vegas, I didn't like moving out of Oakland, but financially it's been such a boon for the team that we finally have the money to compete in the NFL, which we never had for over 20 plus years.
Yep.
We finally got some press boxes anyway.
Yeah.
So,
very expensive ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Al really wanted those press boxes. He was right though.
How much is a press box there? I think it's like for a game. Well, depending on the one, I think like the top one's like $20,000 or something.
Easily,
just to go watch a game. I mean, you got to have some money.
You do.
Maybe one day we'll get invited to a press box.
Hey, that would be nice. We could be press.
That would be a blessing, man.
Yeah,
we could broadcast live from Mark Davis's press box. Just be sitting in the background like.
I love how the chat takes care of each other. Thank you, Raider Ryan. Yeah, A-Train, you're right on time. So let's talk about this one. Kingsbury saw the Raiders at 13, Washington at 2, and thought he had a better shot at Jaden Daniels. I think that's pretty much it. If anybody wants to come on, go ahead and hit the link, and we can take a guest fan to chat about what we're chatting about right now and just get y'all's perspective. Um, it says, look out here, come the Raiders. If the Raiders come, jump ship. I think that's what he's trying to say here. Um, Frank Perez is here as always. Nice to see you, Frank. Talking about how great the Raiders are. And then A Train says, do you think we'll make a move for Dalvin Cook?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this kind of thing anyway. I mean, we're going to do it in a different segment. We can do it now. June 1st, we're going to be in the money. Got some cash burning in Telesco's pocket. What 3 players, if you're GM, would you be looking at trying to sign that you'd be interested in come June 1st?
I'll go first here.
Yeah.
So I've been having my eyes on corner, and that's really the only. But yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we could always get other free agents that we could use, but I feel like a veteran corner would just make things better for our defense. And the 3 players that I would like to get would be, of course, Xavier Howard, Adoree Jackson, or J.C. Jackson. And then so you said 3, but I'm gonna throw in a bonus here. Stephon Gilmore. Those would be the 4 corners. I would like try to go after there.
Okay. What about you, Eddie? Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think we need to take that money and reinvest it in guys like Spillane Diablo. Malcolm Kuntz needs to get re-signed immediately before. I think you need to re-sign him before the season. And a lot of people say, well, what if Tyree, takes off this year and ends up with 14, 15 sacks? What do you do with Malcolm Kuntz? Now you just re-sign him to a deal. Well, at the very least, now you have trade capital with Malcolm Kuntz if you don't need him. If he's not going to get the playing time that he deserves, because rightly so, after what he did last year, he deserves that starting position. Now you can get possibly a first-round draft pick for him, especially if he's able to put up 10 sacks. And so you need to do that right now. You don't want to wait and do it. I mean, yeah, sure, we can franchise tag him at the end of the year, and you can then trade him at that point, I guess. But I would rather just use that money now, sign him to a deal now, get him locked in, give him a 3-year deal, get him locked down, and then let's say Malcolm Kuntz is the one with 15 sacks, and Tyree just is a physically gifted freak, but just cannot put it together and get the production that his body says he should be getting, because he's just not able to learn how to hand fight and learn how to bend and learn how to be a defensive end in the NFL. If he just can't do it, well, at the very least, now you have Malcolm Kuntz on a cheaper deal than what you would have if you waited to the end of the year, right? So we got to re-sign, and we got to give a longer-term deal, redo the deal with Spillane. Spillane is the heart and soul of the linebacker core. He's proven that. You want to get Diablo re-signed, and we have a few other things that need to be done. There are a few other players that need to have a look taken at. So I would spend the money on the players that we already got right now rather than trying to bring one in. And I believe that the corner situation with Richardson and Jacorian Bennett and even Devonshire, I think we have already a really good corner room. I've been going back and I've been looking at DeCamarion Richardson, and this dude with a good off season and then let him kind of progress. I think Jacorian Bennett can start taking up into those first team snaps in the regular season. But I think long term, I'm pretty excited about this Richardson kid. This kid is physically gifted, and he's tall, he's lean, he's quick.
Yeah.
To me, he reminds me a lot of Nnamdi Asomugha. And so
Very
if
much
we
so.
can have a Nnamdi Asomugha on the team where they're like, well, we're just not going to throw to that side of the field because the guy's never open, then you're forced to throw to who? Jack Jones, the ball hawk, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this cornerback room, this young cornerback room. I think, trying to go and get a stopgap corner right now with one of these guys. There's a reason why these guys aren't signed right now. They're not the most elite corners out there. They are good players. They have have had some elite time in the NFL, but they're also older. They're not as good as they used to be, and that's why nobody's gone and swooped them up like right away. So I would rather just, instead of giving first team snaps to somebody that we know is only going to be here for a year, 2 years at the max, a stopgap. Man, let's let Jacorian Bennett get his feet in the fire. Let's let Richardson get his feet in the fire. Devon Shire, let him get his feet in the fire. Let them learn. Let them get those snaps. Because at the corner position, the only way these young kids are going to get good is if they play.
Definitely.
That's it. If they're sitting on the sideline, they're not going to get good. They have all three of them have the physical abilities to do it.
I just like the older guys to come in there and just kind of teach, the younger guys, some things there. I always think that's
it is, but we do already have those guys though.
Who's the vet corner in our room right now?
Well, you got Cornell Armstrong. He's not a starter, but he's 28.
Got to be good to be a leader. So
Brandon Faison's 29. Brandon Faison's not the best corner in the world, but he is a very good football player.
He's
29. 29. He has the similar build to Richardson at 6'2", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Nate Hobbs is only 24, but Nate Hobbs carries himself like a veteran already. I mean, he's been in the league for 4 years, right? So,
I get it.
And if you want to learn from any veteran that's really good at his job, go talk to Nate Hobbs.
So this is why I believe in those guys, but this is why I'm favoring bringing in like Adoree Jackson specifically. He is an older veteran who I think can add that veteran presence to the room, and he knows the defense from his time playing in New York under Graham, which I think will be helpful for the secondary room. As Graham gets more and more complicated with what he wants to call, having somebody around who is already headed that I think could be helpful. So that's one of mine. My other guy is Tyler Boyd. I think you just got to keep taking shots because you don't know what's going to pop. People get hurt. And so more depth at that position I think is a great idea. And on the same vein, I would look at like Dalton Risner in order to add more at guard, or possibly Connor Williams as a backup center, but another interior lineman to challenge so that at cut time we're cutting good players. That's what I want to see happen. There used to be a time where everybody just waited around for the Raiders to cut people because they could supplement their team off of our scraps. And so I think we're going to get back there this year. So that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Good point, bro.
Yeah. So I want to highlight Raider Ryan. He says the Harbaugh brothers will communicate with each other after week 1. Hopefully we don't tilt our hand until week 2, keep something for sleeves for that game. This is a great point. I think me and A-Train were kind of going over this when we talked about the game. The first thing that came to my mind is that the brothers are going to pass stuff. And so we've got to have some stuff saved for week 2 that we didn't show in week 1. We've got to break our own tendencies. We should probably respond differently to blitzes, things like that. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I think, it's two different teams. And you also have to look at, yes, they're brothers, but they're also two different coaching philosophies. So I think we approach both games differently. You have, on the one hand, yeah, Justin Herbert can run, but that's not his main thing. His main thing is trying to light it up through the air, and he'll just try to run to extend plays, maybe pick up a first down if necessary, but he's not a running quarterback. So you play these two guys differently, and at the same time, I mean, you play them similar, which is kind of the same thing with every single quarterback, which is pressure, 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 right?
Yeah.
Like with the old Brady bunch, Marsha, 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 Marsha. Well, in football, it's pressure, 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 pressure. Get the pressure on the quarterback, make him make mistakes, and then that allows guys in the backfield, especially guys like Jack Jones, to feast. When a quarterback throws an errant pass anywhere near Jack Jones turns into receiver mode instead of corner mode. And so that's how you beat them. And I think that as far as on the offensive side of the ball, they have, I think, a better defensive line in Baltimore than they do in LA. Now I know LA has, they have Bosa and they have Mack, but both of those guys are getting older. Khalil Mack, he's going to be 33, 34 this year. So even though I wanted him to come back and retire as a Raider, that would have been great, but not as a starter. I think Malcolm Kuntz and Tyree Wilson would have started. So, you just you adjust your game plan and you come out with something different from week to week. And at the same time, you have your core staples, which is Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams, and then run the ball down their throat, hit Jacoby Myers up on those slants and those out routes. And then, 2-3 times a game, you throw it, 40 yards down the field to our little Tyreek Hill 2.0. Right?
Yep.
And that's how you beat all of them.
So, Raider, Ryan, he hit on the point. I feel like we, for sure, the Harbaugh brothers are going to keep in contact with each other, and then they're going to share things. And first off, I think week one we are definitely going to beat the Chargers because it's Jim Harbaugh's opening game there. Their defense, like how you just said, they just have Mack and Bosa and their safety, Derwin James. I can't think of no other person off the top of my head, now. But I feel like our defense is night and day difference between their D there. I think we're going to beat Chargers, and then I feel like right after that game, Jim is going to pick up his cell phone and call John and be like, "Yo, the Raiders did this. You got to watch out for this." But the Harbaugh brothers, they play different, but they're both from the same tree, and I just think that they will be keeping in contact with each other. And week two is definitely going to be tougher than week one.
And I'll say that, here's my prediction of what they're going to do. Week one, baby brother is going to try and run the ball down our throat, and Justin Herbert's probably going to throw the ball 20 to 25 times. That classic, Jim Harbaugh type of football. And that's not going to work because our defensive line is going to be excellent against the run. Christian Wilkins is excellent against the run. Max Crosby is excellent against the run. Tyree Wilson is excellent against the run. Even Malcolm Kuntz is. And then you got the big guys in Butler and Jenkins that are going to be in there just clogging it up. So it's not going to work. And then they're going to get into panic mode when we're up by 21 points, and they're going to try and start throwing the ball. And that's where the interceptions are going to happen. That's where the mistakes are going to happen. Yeah. Whereas with Baltimore, they're going to be more balanced because you have the MVP at quarterback. And so they're going to probably try, and they're going to, they got home field. We're coming in there. They're going to see that trying to run the ball is not going to be effective against our defensive line and our linebacker core. And so they're going to try and throw the ball. They're going to try and do that. In which case, now Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, they get to pin their ears back and just chase that quarterback, who is very quick and very hard to bring down, but they get to chase him from multiple different angles, which is different than what Max Crosby has been dealing with his entire career, which is where it's just been him.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you got all the Falcon, Hawks, dogs, wolves, whatever you want to call these guys, all just converging on the same point of attack, and they're gonna get to him. So, like I said, I think the Baltimore game is gonna be a real challenge. If we meet that challenge and we beat Baltimore in Baltimore, we're 2-0. That's when I say we go 7-0. And I don't think we have our first loss till week 8 or week 9, because we're just going to be riding so high. And I mean, Coach Antonio Pierce is a motivator as it is, but nothing motivates a team more than winning. And when you win with style and dominance, like Devontae Adams said after we finally got a win after like 4 losses. Year before last with McDaniels, they're like, "How does it feel to win?" And he was, I mean, we won by 3 points, right? And barely won, like scraped that win out. And he was like, "Yeah, it's nice to win, but you know, this isn't how we're supposed to be winning. This is like." Right. This isn't how it should be done. So when you do it in convincing style and continuously, that's a big motivator. And then you get that confidence, like, you know what, we are better than everybody else. And when you get the whole team to believe that, that's when you win championships.
I think the Raiders have the talent to beat, any team. And then back to the Chargers too. They lost a lot of key weapons too there, and a lot of their players are young. And I just know that Jim Harbaugh is going to try his darnest to come out week 1 and try to get his first win. Week 1 and try to be in the headlines and like all that. But he's going to see a lot of Brock Bowers. So yeah, man, I can't wait. I just can't wait for it.
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't scared of Quentin Johnson out there at receiver? He doesn't make you guys quake.
No, he's good upcoming talent, but they lost Keenan Allen, and and
Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. I mean, these are guys that you had to pay attention to. So they offensively they are weaker this year than they were last year.
We
got Guyton.
Exactly.
We picked him up. They're in a tear down rebuild situation. They're probably not going to be good for another 2 years. And it's kind of the same situation with Denver.
Yeah, I think they're a 5-win team, and I think Denver's like a 3-win team. But that's just my opinion. So we'll see. Which is, it's nice when it's just you and one other team really vying for the division title, and I feel like that's what's happening. So good quote here from Ernest. He says, what's happening this year, these guys want to bust ass for AP. AP's style is contagious from pro to rookies. His staff is on target. All winners, baby. And I think that's right in line with what we're thinking here is that he makes a big difference. And I think that's why we're all optimistic, because the leadership is right. So,
and if you look at how our defense was flying around on that field at the end of the year, they fully just clicked with Patrick Graham's defense, and now they have yet another full year or full off season with Patrick Graham's defense. They're just keyed and locked into it. I think, obviously nobody knows what the future is going to hold. Only God knows that. But man, if they key in on that defense and he unleashes the hounds like he did at the end of the year after AP took over and told him, what I mean, shackles are off, man. Go do what you got to do. You know what I mean? McDaniels is gone. There's no restriction. This is your defense now. You go. That continues this year. I mean, we were already top scoring defense the last 5 games of the year, top 10 defense top 3 defense out of the last few games of the season in the NFL. Now you carry that on through an entire season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I've been saying it over and over and over again. Everybody says Patrick Mahomes is, the best thing since, white bread or something.
Sliced bread.
Here's the deal. Patrick Mahomes doesn't win all those championships without a guy like Chris Jones and a dominant defense.
And Andy Reid too, man.
Yeah, I mean Andy Reid, that offense.
Yeah.
I mean they and Travis Kelce. Like Patrick Mahomes doesn't play in a vacuum.
Yeah.
He has a team around him. Everybody thinks, well, we gotta have. If only we had Patrick Mahomes. You know what? 2 years ago, if we had Patrick Mahomes, we would still win 5 games.
Yeah,
because we have a team around him.
I will say this too. Alex Smith was a big deal sitting behind him for a year.
Oh yeah.
Because when Mahomes really took off and became the Mahomes that we know of, because he was struggling with trying to make too many big plays. When he really took off, he started to play a little bit more like Alex Smith, and manage the game, take what's there. Now he's a short pass king, right? And so I think that year sitting behind Alex Smith is really underrated, because I think he learned some things that he leaned on when things got tough. And shout out to family. I just want to say shout out to my Uncle Flem up in this piece. Dude is a legend in the Bay Area as a high school football coach. So shout out to coming in for me and saying what's up.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah.
And it's just so one thing here. So Patrick is a great quarterback. Don't get I will give him that. But would he have the same success that he had with the Chiefs if Andy Reid was not there? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like if you would have put Patrick Mahomes on the Raiders, 2016, right? He wins 3 or 4 games. Yep. It's about having that team that's well balanced all around you. Plus, he has Travis Kelce. He has his boyfriend, right? his boyfriend protects him. His boyfriend fights his fights for him. His boyfriend, sticks up for him on his podcast. I mean, like everybody keeps talking about Kelce and that Taylor Swift. We all know who the real girlfriend in that relationship is, and it's not a white chick named Taylor Swift. But neither here nor there. All seriously, don't sue me, Patrick. But here's the thing. Like he wins games because he's a magician out there on the field. He can get out of sacks, and he can dump the ball off Travis Kelce, who's a monster and difficult to bring down, and he gets those first downs. But the other part of it that everybody misses is the fact that every single time he's won a Super Bowl, they've had a top 5 defense.
Yep.
And I keep saying this over and over and over again, and everybody forgets. Defenses win championships. You may not realize it, but Tom Brady, every Super Bowl he won, he had a top 10 defense on the other side of that ball. It's a fact of life. We lost our Super Bowl to Tampa Bay, who had the number 1 defense. We had the number 1 offense. Who won that game? I mean, granted, that game was rigged by the NFL, and we got scredoodled on it, but still, you got to go out there and do it.
Going for hours and hours about that game. It's so bad memories thinking about that game.
Yeah. Please don't bring that up again.
But that's the fact is why I am so confident in the Raiders this year, because the first time since the 80s, we have a top 5 defense. On paper right now. Now we got to go out there and we got to put it on the field. But on paper right now, we legitly have a top 5 defense.
Yep. Yeah.
So, Raider Ryan, I think you're right. I think McVay is a little bit overrated lately. I agree. I think
he's a good coach though. I have to
absolutely.
His dude. He's a good coach.
Right. But they won after they to my point is, and the whole team was supplied with extreme talent. when they won. So let's just say that.
They had a guy named Aaron Darnold who made opposing quarterbacks lunchtime. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's what it all comes back down to. You have to have a well-rounded team. You don't always have to have the top defense, the top offense, but you need to have 3 phases of football: offense, defense, and special teams that are all good. And if you have that, your chances of winning skyrocket. It's like, you and me, Hot, we were talking to a former player, and he said that, from the water boy to the GM, everybody has to be pulling in the same direction. And when you have that, that's when you win. We have that right now. We have that in abundance right now with the Raiders, which we haven't had really since the 80s.
Better than any other team out there. Probably better than any team I've heard of. I've never heard of this many people being there for the whole off season. So, you got like 30 guys. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you have some coaches out there that the players love. Head coach down there in Houston, players love him.
Yeah.
Detroit, players love him.
Yeah.
You have some coaches that are just really good in bringing out the best out of their players, like, in Pittsburgh. Do you think the players love the coach down there in Denver? You think they're just thinking about, man, I wish I could just go hang out with him right now in his 6'4" Impala. Oh wait, he doesn't have one.
With some Air Force Ones.
he does smoke bongs with his players, so maybe they like that.
Yeah, he does do that. But that's the difference between a lot of the other teams right now and what we have with the Raiders is everybody loves AP. Everybody loves Patrick Graham. And everybody's fallen in love with Luke Getsy.
Yeah.
All the coaches, the staff, the GM, from the water boy to the owner. Everybody is just fired up. Everybody's going in the same direction, and obviously, you gotta translate that into wins in order to keep that momentum. Because if you come out and drop the ball and you're 0-4, all that momentum kind of goes out the door, and people start talking, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And Antonio Pierce, and our whole coaching staff, they have the tools there at their disposal, ready to go. So, it's up to Coach AP and our staff to just get that train rolling, man. And I'm just hoping just for the best, man. And I just can't wait until week 1, man. Can't wait for preseason. I just can't wait.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of the key too. Is all of our staff are winners. Patrick Graham been a winner. AP been a winner. Luke Getsy been a winner. Right. So I think that you put all of those football brains in the same room, and you're going to come up with a good recipe for a good piece of cake to eat when you're hoisting that Lombardi trophy.
Yeah. I mean, from the front office down all the way through the coaching staff, this is one of the better setups we've ever had. We have a lot of talent in the front office. We got teams already stealing guys. Dwayne Joseph has stolen. I mean, he's been there like 3 minutes, and they've already, recruited him to another team for a better job. I heard New England's trying to steal someone else, and we just literally brought on. So we are talented, not just on the field, but off the field, which I think is paying dividends. Ernest makes a good point. We have 10 home games because the 2 LA games. So even in a year where we have 9 road games, we still have more home games than road games. Let's go.
Yeah, that's true. True to that. LA is Raider country still, man.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Ernest says, I sat in LA's box in 93 for an A's game.
Right on, man.
And the Dodge Boys. Okay. All right. Nice. Yes, A-Train is correct. Doesn't someone want to come on the show and chop it up with us? There's a link.
Up on board, fellas.
Are y'all
ladies
scared?
and gals, boys and girls, come on down.
Some people are
You
scared.
got something to
it's okay, we'll be nice to you. We have Raider Ryan talking about Stephon Gilmore, so he's
Yeah.
on your side, Western. Out of the three that you mentioned, who's number one for you? Is it Xavier Howard or?
I give a slight edge to Dory Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A Train says it's pretty awesome that they let us share our opinions. Y'all should try it.
Mhm.
He's right. He's right. Ernest says he sat in the AL suite with the Dodge boys from Hayward, just like any other box. Okay, all right.
That must have been an
Um,
awesome experience.
So this is a good point from earlier. Diablo needs to prove himself first, in my opinion, before he resign. I wanted to revisit that.
I absolutely agree with
The health,
Ray
man.
Ryan. I
Yeah.
believe that he has the tools and the talent to be a good player. I just kind of been let down based from the expectations that I expect from him, and I know that he could do better. So I'm just hoping that he plays with the par and he can stay healthy.
The thing with
Yeah.
Diablo is even if he does continue to have some health injuries, when he is healthy, he is a fantastic player out there, and that's why you would re-sign him now because you're going to get him cheap, right? And then you can continue to draft, and then if your draft guys pick up the slack and really start to outplay him and as well as stay more healthy than him, then at the very least you can now trade him for a draft pick. It may not be a high draft pick, but
Mid-round.
it's still you still have some tradability there. So that's why I'm very high on us right now, getting these contracts done while they're cheap. Now they may not want to. Malcolm Kuntz may be like, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to sign right now because I put up 8 sacks last year. I think I can get 12 or 14, and then I can really get a good bag. I can get a $25 million deal next year instead of an $8 or $9 million deal this year, right? But that depends on the player. Some players they're like, you know what, I don't want to risk it. What happens if I come out and I get hurt week 1 and I get 1.5 sack by the end of the season? Well, now I'm a free agent. The Raiders don't want to sign me to anything because Tyree took over and blew up, and now I'm looking at what, a $500,000 contract versus an $8 million a year contract. So some players will just be like, you know what, I'm not going to risk it. Go ahead and bring me that money. Let's sign the 3-year deal. Let's get it done. And so I think that's what you would want to do with a guy like Malcolm Kuntz, Divine Diablo, and then obviously Spillane. I think he's on his final year of his contract with us, so we need to get him extended. And I think you do it now again because he's going to be cheaper now than at the end of the year, because Spillane's only going to he's second year in the program. He's only going to have a better year, barring an injury. So I think it's more important, and I kind of get the feeling that that's what they've been waiting for. They're just waiting for that post June 1st, and then you're going to see these signings and these extensions get done.
I could see that for sure. It makes a lot of sense. Signing them while they're cheap. I'm projecting out, thinking about Devon Diablo and what he'll cost after the season. But now that would be a different price. So, I see on that.
Because let's say
Raiders
Divine stays healthy all year.
Yeah.
Let's say he doesn't have any injuries this year. It's going to be twice as expensive next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Raiders Rebel, Brendan Faison. I think this is in response to me asking who's the veteran in our room.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Dave Mosier says, Raider Nation for life, baby. Just one baby. Finally, this is our breakout year, period. Yes.
Amen, brother.
Yes. Dave is a veteran. He knows. And then Mike Avila says, hello.
But that
Big Michael Avila in the house.
Big Mike, what's up? And then Doppelganger says salute. So yes, salute. What's up?
Salute, brother. Doppelganger.
What's up? And then we got 6916 though says can't wait for training camp. Guys will ball out and earn their spots. Offense will come together and execute the new game plan effectively. Defense will be hungry for real games. This year is going.
I'm gonna fill in that blank, and I'm gonna say, well. Yours going well.
We'll take it.
I'm gonna say amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
No. Well, I'm gonna go one up for that and say marvelous.
Marvelous.
So I'm gonna say down in history. How about that?
I'm gonna up all of you guys and say marvelicious.
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 I like
Can't
that.
top
I like
marvelicious, man.
that.
When you can combine two words together like that, that's when you're on to something. And that's where the Raiders are at right now. They're on to something.
Yes, sir.
Pop says, I always felt you build through the young players and pay the vets. He
Yeah.
says this a lot.
I agree with Pops, man.
This is true. Yeah, absolutely. Ernest says, love the show. Guys, it's my 42-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Salute to you, sir.
Salute to you.
Bro,
Salute to you, Ernest.
42 years. Wow.
That's amazing. That's loyalty. That's commitment. That's commitment to excellence right there.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
That's great stuff, man. Great stuff. So you're right up there with my parents. And then let's see here. We got he says congrats, Ernest. Yes, major congrats. And then we got a salute to the Pops. Thank you very much, Raider Ryan. Earlier, Pop said the AFC Championship game will be in Vegas. Raiders Ravens. What's your prediction for AFC Championship, guys?
I agree with that there. I can't see no other team being there aside from Baltimore. To be honest with you, each time I think about the Raiders and Ravens in the playoffs, I have nightmares of Tony Siragusa. And
right. Please don't fall on our quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it
belly
could be
flop purposely.
I think it could be a Cincinnati too.
Yeah, Bengals are good. You're right. That's
you can't count out Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow stays healthy.
Yeah.
That dude is.
Yeah, no. For
he's a quarterback, man.
They're a great team. I just got to give that like if I had to bet right now between the Bengals and the Ravens, I would just have to go with Baltimore. I just have that gut feeling. it's them.
What do you guys think about Buffalo and what they did this year?
Wow, that's going to be something interesting to see. I mean, they lost Diggs, so it's really going to be the Josh Allen show now, and he's a great, quarterback too. But me, honestly, I don't think that they'll have the same success post Diggs era. Honestly, that's just me.
Right. Yeah, I feel like we saw this movie before he got there. So I'm surprised they wanted to do the sequel because Josh Allen didn't look too good before he had a real number one receiver with him. So interesting. I think it's going to force him to play more of that backyard stuff that gets him in trouble. I can see them taking the big step back because of that. So what do you think, Raider D?
Yeah, I've never been sold on Buffalo. I think that some of the games that they won were by chance and by luck, and just the other teams not playing well. And I think Josh Allen is a very athletic quarterback. I think he's a decent, field general, but everybody makes Josh Allen out to be this superstar quarterback, and he's just not. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, well, he doesn't have all the weapons. Well, Tom Brady, for all intents and purposes, only had one superstar wide receiver in his entire career. One. Anybody know who that is?
Randy Moss.
Moss. Exactly. Outside of him, who did he really have that was a superstar wide receiver? They took
Wes Welker was pretty good too.
Wes Welker was good, but he wasn't a Devontae Adams. He wasn't a Randy Moss, right?
But he was pretty darn good, man.
But the thing about
Gronk,
the thing about Wes was
Gronk,
Gronk's a tight end.
Yeah.
Gronk is a tight end. So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
wide receivers, outside of wide receivers, did he have a Jerry Rice? Did he have a Tim Brown? Did he
No.
had Randy Moss. And the
But
one year
that's
he
how
had
good
Randy Moss,
Tom was, though.
like
Tom
he
was that
went
good.
he went off. And so that's what I'm saying.
50
Like
touchdowns.
I hate
Yeah.
Tom Brady, but you can't hate what he did. Right? And what he
Yeah.
did was proved that it was him. It wasn't even him and
Oh, yeah.
Belichick, because he was like, you know what? I don't need Belichick. I'm going to go down to Tampa Bay and win a Super Bowl. Right?
Yep.
So it wasn't
Yeah.
even Belichick. Belichick was a part of it, but it wasn't the key. And that's why I'm saying, like, Tom Brady is a superstar quarterback. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I don't see that with Josh Allen. But the media makes him out to be this superstar quarterback that I don't think that he is. If you're going to talk about superstar quarterbacks, obviously you got to talk about Patrick Mahomes because he wins. And if you talk about Lamar Jackson, he's a superstar quarterback because he wins. If you want to talk about a guy, as long as he stays healthy, Joe Burrow is going to be a superstar quarterback. I mean, he already is, but I mean, if he stays healthy, he will probably get a Super Bowl at some point.
Yeah.
Because
And
he's just that good.
They all have in common is that they play at quarterback time. And quarterback time in my house, we've always said is third down in the last 2 minutes of each half. And those guys raise their game at that time when their teams need them. So I think that's the difference.
That's
Josh
why I say
Allen,
that I equate Josh Allen with Justin Herbert. I think they are overblown quarterbacks. They're good. I'm not saying they're bad, but
very good.
people raise them to superstar status, and they are not. They're just not.
I just haven't seen them make the plays in the clutch when it matters most to elevate to that level.
And that doesn't mean that they can't become that. I mean, they could. I mean, they could have a breakout year and really take that next step in their career. But as of right now, I'm not sold on Josh Allen and Buffalo, and I've never been sold on Herbert.
Right. Well, Doppelganger makes a good point. Doesn't need to look pretty. We just need to win.
Absolutely.
And having an elite defense that takes over the game is how you do that. I love watching it also.
And I wanted to touch on that.
Go ahead.
Quick.
Yeah.
If you look at Kansas City and what they're really good at, when they lost Tyreek Hill, everybody said Kansas City will never win another Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill was never the reason why they won. He was a part, but never the reason. The reason they win is Travis Kelce.
Yep.
That's how they keep the ball moving. That's how they keep the chains moving. That's how they get the touchdowns when it's critical. You get the ball in the hands of your best player, and that's Travis Kelce. And that's exactly what Tom Brady did with Gronk. We, 2 years in a row, drafted the best tight end out of college. So now we got baby Gronk and we got baby Travis Kelce. So
Brock
the
Bowers.
the Chiefs have one superstar tight end. We have two.
Twice as many.
Give these kids 2 more years in the NFL, and they are going to be blowing up defenses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially in this offense. Check out my video. Check out some stuff we have coming out. It's going to talk about what Getsy does, but the wide zone, the use of the slot player in a lot of kind of gadgety ways. Think Randall Cobb back in the day and how he got a ton of usage even as a lead blocker in their run game on some of their stretch stuff and some of the counters that they run. Those two are going to go nuts, especially in this offense.
Look at Derek Carr's best years with Darren Waller when he had his Pro Bowl year.
Right.
Absolutely. A great receiving tight end is the best friend to a quarterback.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
When Darren Waller was playing the hamstring thing and not playing and all that, which I believe was BS. I think he just didn't want to play for McDaniels. So he could hamstring. I mean, how can you prove it, right?
Well, he's still out with that hamstring, so maybe.
I think it's because he just doesn't want to play football anymore, but he wants the check. He wants the money. He just doesn't
To
want to
this
play
day,
anymore.
he's still working on that hamstring.
You know what I'm saying? So look at the difference in Carr. With Darren Waller playing out of his mind, make the playoffs. Without him, don't.
Yeah.
And so that's I think we have, two great tight ends, and I think that, Tom Telesco knows, because he's from our division, how do the Chiefs keep winning? They got the formula. It's the dominant tight end. Kittle with the 49ers.
Yep. That's
You know
why
what I'm
they
saying?
won.
That's the winning formula. That's why when Brock Bowers fell to us, which we didn't even think was going to happen, but when he was there at 13, it was a no-brainer. Like, take him.
Yeah. I'm. You got that A's hat on, and it reminds me of making sure that you take care of undervalued assets, right? So tight ends, linebackers, safeties are opportunities for us. They're undervalued. And we can get some game-changing type players later on, and for not as much against the cap. And if you wanted to, I don't know, build an offense and defense around those players rather than focusing on more expensive ones, you might be cooking with grease. So I think that's part of our philosophy here, right? My dad says the Raiders will be 7-0.
He agrees with me. Great minds think alike.
You guys are often on the same page. It's eerie and weird, and I don't like it.
It's almost like as like the baby's got swapped at birth, and I'm actually his son.
Oh man, you know what? You might be. Yeah. Well, yeah. You guys have a lot in common. We'll leave some of that off there. But he says this isn't the same team we suffered through since our glory days. This reminds me of Lester and Mike, the no passing zone. Nice. That was a special time. Yeah, if we can recreate that, then it'll be fun just to go out there and embarrass teams.
I really hope that is the case, that we do go out and get 7 wins straight. That would be beautiful, beautiful harmony.
Well, Raider Ryan says not only do we have the talent to win, but our guys believe that we can beat anyone, and AP will have these guys ready to go with all our additions on the coaching staff and players. And I agree. So maybe that's how we go 7-0.
When you look at some of the footage that's coming out of the OTAs and the mini camp and the rookie camp right now, our veteran players, our stars, our key players, the tape that's coming out of them is jaw-dropping. I just watched a short clip of Davante Adams running a quick little out route sideline catch, dragging the toe.
Yeah.
It's like he's in the Super Bowl right now. He's literally playing that hard in OTAs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't normally see guys in OTAs playing like that with the toe drag and everything, making the concentration. Like, that's what guys like him, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, that's what they bring to this team. And the young guys are looking up at them and saying, damn, that's what I got to do if I want to be like him.
Plus, since the Chargers came out and they said that he's a garbage expired Pop-Tart, I'm sure that put an extra chip on his shoulder. You know what I mean? And he's going to, I feel like he has something to prove, especially to the Chargers this year.
Yeah. Week 1, 70-10. That's what I'm calling. So.
I love it.
And they're gonna. He has a special relationship already with Luke Getsy, so Luke's he's gonna game plan for Davante.
Oh man,
he's gonna spread the ball around. He's gonna spread it around. In that 2020 year with Green Bay, they threw to 11 touchdowns to 11 different players. So they spread the ball around, which then gets players wide open, which takes pressure off of Davante. And somebody was talking to Up and Adams. Her podcast. She was talking to Marcel Reese, and she asked Marcel Reese, "Is Davante Adams going to be upset? Is he going to request a trade if he's not getting the ball?" And Marcel was like, "No. You know what makes Adams upset? Losing. You know what makes him
Mm-hmm.
happy? Winning. He doesn't care how many times he touches the ball if you're winning. If you put together
Yeah.
a winning strategy, then he's happy. But obviously, when you have a talent like him, you want to get him the ball.
Chris for Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
that 2020 season with Aaron Rodgers, he had 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, right? 112 catches.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and yet they
Yeah.
still spread the ball around to 11
Which is
different
crazy.
people catching touchdowns, right?
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
he still got his issue. And so that's the offense that Luke Getzey's going to bring. And I think Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starter because he's the one that can make every single one of those throws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think he definitely. I mean, I posted it. He thinks he's the starting quarterback according to AP right now, and so it's his job to lose, just like we thought, per his own quotes. So
I mean, when the coach comes out and says
Facts.
he's earned the right to take the first snap. A lot of people came in my comments when I mentioned that this is why AOC is going to be the starter. Well, that's just in practice. That's not no. Well, why would the coach come out? Well, he's earned the first right to take the first snap in practice. No, that's not what he's talking about.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, it's not how it
no.
works.
Because if you combine all of Antonio Pierce's comments together throughout this offseason, it makes one very clear point. He is QB1.
Which makes
Minshew
sense.
has to beat him to be QB1,
Exactly.
and that hasn't
Right.
happened
Yeah.
yet.
It's
Because
AOC
if you're the
job to lose.
Yeah, if you're the Raiders, you want AOC to win the job. I mean, he's younger, more physically gifted, right?
Cheaper.
Cheaper, obviously, yes. Yeah, so I mean, 100%. You want him to win that job. So,
And
good
here's the thing.
is-
Why did we go and pick up an undrafted QB that's going to end up on the practice squad anyway? Because you're hoping that Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starter. He's going to shine. We're going to win a bunch of games. We're going to go to the playoffs, and he's the face of the franchise, which means next year, Gardner Minshew's on the trade block.
Yep.
right.
And
Absolutely.
now you have Brown and you have Bradley as your two backups. Who
Yeah.
all three of them are extraordinarily cheap,
Yeah.
which then allows you to continue to build a strong team all around. And with AOC, you don't have to worry about paying him big money for another 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely true. And then, if Minshew balls out in the preseason, he's a real tradable asset.
Yeah,
Could be getting a pick.
absolutely he is.
Yeah, day 2 pick or something from that. I can see
Mhm.
that. Yeah, second or third round pick. So
And let's be
Say-
honest,
agree.
only 9 quarterbacks completed an entire season last year without missing a single game out of 32
Mhm.
teams. Likelihood
Yeah.
is Minshew will most likely get in for a series or a half a game
Yeah.
or maybe a game
Yeah.
or maybe two,
yeah,
because that's just football, right?
Right.
So Aiden may go down with some type
Yeah.
of a sprain
Yeah.
or a light concussion or something. And then Minshew has to come in. And if Minshew comes in and he wins, and then AOC comes back and he takes over and he's obviously the franchise guy because he's, throwing 40 touchdowns in the season, then yeah, you could definitely get a day 2 pick out of
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
Speaking of
Absolutely.
40 touchdowns, I just went back and kind of just looked at Gardner Minshew in his rookie year. And, if he played all 16 games that rookie season, he would have thrown for 40 touchdowns, which is insane. So I think there's a little bit of kind of statistical bias that happens with Minshew. Because even in the year where he ended up getting benched, he was on a Doug Marrone team with not very much talent. If he plays that whole season, they don't bench him. It's another 4,000 yard, like 37 touchdown season with less than 10 interceptions. So when he's had a chance to play, he's played exceptionally well. So, don't be surprised if he makes some noise. If ALC keeps that starting job, it's because he earned it. And I think with that quarterback room, we're guaranteed to have very competent guy back there that can lead us to some victories and some wins, even in tough clutch situations. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic guy to have on the team. I'm glad that we have him on the team to push AOC.
Absolutely.
And I again, like, people miss this at the presser last week. Antonio Pierce, and I put this in my video, when he mentions what AOC has done with his body, like, a lot of people just skipped right over this. He is literally transforming his body in this offseason. And when your coach notices that, that's a big compliment. That's a big boost of confidence. And I'm excited to see what that's going to translate into, because I think what that's going to translate into, from what I've heard, is he's been focused on conditioning. And conditioning is code word for speed, for mobility.
Yep.
And working with a coach specifically to get him more mobile. And so he's been doing a lot of drills where the pocket is collapsing and he has to get out of the pocket. And then doing all the strength and physical conditioning to make him quicker and quicker reflexes. I mean, he's not going to turn into Lamar Jackson. Let's be honest.
No,
right?
No.
But all he needs to do is be able to get out of the pocket for 5 to 7 steps and throw that open man, or throw the man open, whichever case it may be. And that's what he's been working on. And Coach Antonio Pierce has taken notice, so that's a big deal.
He's been practicing the salsa, right? Yeah, he's going to have the feet, and the core strength is going to be improved, which is going to help with his arm strength as well. So
Yep.
And I've been seeing a lot of people saying that he doesn't have a strong arm, and I'm just like, dude, did you miss all the
I have people say that too, man.
Deep passes last year?
And I'm like, what footage or film are you watching? I'm like, what are you watching?
People rips that ball.
Everything. People are comparing everything to like Mahomes or Josh Allen. Now, is he going to be off platform and throw a 60-yard rocket across the field? No. But if he, is able to, be on platform, stay, with the right and proper technique, he can put the ball 55 yards down the field on a dime, right? He did that to Devontae. He did that to Tucker. So that sort of thing. So there is a little bit of a difference there, right? So maybe he's a little bit better off platform with a stronger core, right? So that's where you see that kind of come through.
Yeah.
And look at all the quarterbacks. I've even heard people say Derek Carr didn't have a good deep ball. I disagree with that. I think he did.
He did.
He had an arm.
Yeah, he definitely had an arm, and you can see as he progressed throughout his career. He liked to wear the cut off sleeve shirts at the pressers to show off the guns, or what I mean,
with the baby oil.
Yeah,
baby oil the arms up.
Yeah. Check me out, man. When these guys come out of college, you got to remember that, yes, they're training, they got trainers, they got all of that stuff. But a lot of these guys are, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, 22 years old. They're still not full grown men yet. Like, you don't hit your peak until you're 25 as a man. And so now is the time where, for my own personal experience, at 24, I could not get over 163 pounds. Did not matter. I had hit the gym every day, eat like a horse, protein, all this. I could not get over 163 pounds. I hit 26 and jumped to 212 pounds in 3 months.
Wow.
It's like something genetically just switches. And all of a sudden I'm doing, 400-pound deadlifts, and I'm doing 250-pound bench presses, stuff I could never do when I was 23, 24. And so you look at Aiden O'Connell, if he's right now just hitting his peak of manhood in that peak of testosterone, and he's going to take that next step in his career, I think his arm strength's only going to get stronger over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in the NFL, good teams anyway, they bar no expense with the top athletic trainers, athletic science, all of that stuff to make these guys legally the best fit that they could possibly be in, right? When we were talking to a player, and we'll be dropping that video hopefully tomorrow morning. I'm almost done editing it. It's an hour and a half long interview. You know, he was saying like in his day, you know, you had to have your own little dietitian, and you really had to be disciplined with your diet and your training and everything else. Nowadays, these guys show up to the facility and they have already their meals are already planned out. Like when Max Crosby shows up at 5 a.m, the staff already has his meals ready for him, and they are the exact what he needs nutrient wise to be at his peak performance.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s and 80s, I mean, you ate some corned beef hash and a bowl of cereal, and you went and you played football. Now these guys literally like down to the macronutrients is all planned out for them. So anybody who says AOC doesn't have a strong arm, first of all, he does, and second of all, it's only going to get better.
Yeah,
you know, and then the guys who like say that too. Those are the fans that are more in favor of Gardner, you know what I mean? And they try to throw a little salt, you know, in there. And I'll just, I just gotta say this now. If you want a more mobile guy, then that's Gardner for sure. But if you want a traditional pocket guy, that's AOC, and he can zip that ball.
Yeah. A lot of it's going to come down to the offensive line, right? I mean, if the offensive line is playing at optimum, then AOC is definitely probably the better option. If we're having a little bit of issues, you know, and we need a little bit more creativity back there, you might see, you know, Minshew having a slight advantage because of that. So congrats to Ernest again. So things were on fire. That sounds awesome. Pop says Raider D sounded like Jasmine Crockett, not pulling punches. I don't know if you guys saw that today. We're not trying to get political, but that was hilarious.
I don't know who is Jasmine Crockett. I don't know who that is.
Jasmine Crockett is the one who dropped the obliteration on Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll call it the alliteration.
Congress. I see something on. I didn't click on it. I had just seen like the headline on a YouTube video that came across my TV.
I'm making a song.
Something about bleach blonde butch something.
It's actually bleach blonde bad built butch body to be exact. Yeah, bleach blonde bad built butch body.
You know what I think they should do is they should form a football team between the Democrats and the Republicans and not be allowed to wear helmets.
Oh, God.
Full contact, no helmets. You can wear pads, but no helmets.
They wouldn't notice.
I think they would make better decisions that way.
Their staff.
Like, you really want to pass this bill, you got to get the touchdown.
Yeah, just let the staff make choices. They're smarter.
Yeah.
Ernest says, I'm back. He says, our defense, built by AP and Graham, is going to be like the 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens, and the Giants. We're going to surprise the whole damn NFL. Take that, Goodell. Still love Gruden. Okay. All right.
The 85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens were special defenses, and I would love for the Raiders to play at that tier of, you know, on their defense. So I'm hoping for that.
You know, the problem is we will never see a team like the 85 Bears ever again. We'll never see a team like, you know, with our assassins out on the field back in the 70s and 80s, because the NFL would literally kick you out of the football.
Absolutely.
Right.
If you body slam a wide receiver.
Even the 2000 Ravens, like Ray Lewis. Have you? I mean, go back and watch those.
That defense is, man. You had so many good players on that defense, on that Baltimore defense, man.
Ray
But
Lewis
what
would
you
have no
can
paycheck.
do, because you can't play the same, it's a different game now. The rules are
Absolutely.
much more in favor of offense.
Hmm.
What you can do is match the intensity. You may not be able to body slam somebody and pick them up and suplex them, but you can definitely match the intensity and the hustle. And you just kind of have to translate that to once you get your hands on them. Like, it's sad to me because I know Max Crosby, when he gets his hands on a quarterback, he wants to body slam them, but he has to like just wrap them up and give them a little hug and gently put them on the ground. And then like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want Max to
Well,
just go wild and just put them all on their backside, man. Just a nice, good
I
hit
just,
stick, you know.
I think we might actually be good enough this year to just take a couple of those penalties for intimidation purposes. So,
Ernest
Absolutely.
makes a great point. We
Absolutely.
do have Ed Reed's cousin on the team, Trey Taylor.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
yeah.
I just hope that he could be a 2.0 of Ed Reed.
I'm telling you right. I'm telling you right now. I went back and I
It's
watched
like,
a bunch of this kid's tape, and I'm
he's
so
true.
He looks good,
impressed.
yeah.
He is
He
the
looks
real
good.
deal. This dude hits. I mean, he is an assassin out there,
Yeah.
just looking to hit somebody, and he
Yeah.
always takes a really good angle. Like he doesn't miss tackles. So I'm really hopeful for Trey Taylor. I think for sure he's going to make the 52-man squad, and he'll be on the team. Not a starter, obviously, because we got our safeties already locked up.
Yeah.
But he'll get in. He'll get some snaps during
Definitely.
the season.
You know,
Well, he's got to compete against Chris Smith as well. Our safety room is
Deep.
pretty nice. Yeah, it's pretty.
That's
deep.
why I was saying, man, for the first time ever in my memory, we have depth on every single key position.
Yeah.
I would say probably the cornerback room is where we have a lot of cornerbacks, but we don't know, quality wise. We have quantity
Right.
right now, but how is the
Right.
quality? We don't really know that yet. So that would probably be the weakest link is the corner room, but every other room we're really good. Maybe you could argue quarterback room because we don't know what AOC is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be the, Peyton Manning 2.0, where year two
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning went 13-3, made the playoffs and was balling out,
Right. Right.
or if he's not going to be that guy.
Right.
So
But
yeah,
then
we don't have
Minshew.
we have Minshew, but like if you're going to say, well, if you're going to compare it to other quarterback rooms of people that have like Joe Burrow and Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, no, we don't have that. But
Mm-hmm.
what we do have is two starting caliber quarterbacks. Most don't have that.
Right.
Like who
Right.
backs up Lamar Jackson?
Exactly.
Well,
I
it
don't
was
know.
Anthony Brown,
Yeah.
and now he's with us,
Yeah.
right?
He's
Yeah.
third string. Right.
And he may
Yeah.
not even make the team. He may, Bradley may beat him out in the offseason.
Carter
yeah.
Bradley's more talented. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and this is the thing with the concussion stuff. Like the second quarterback is all the more important. Like you said, how many of the starting quarterbacks made it through the whole season last year? So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, and you got to have two solid quarterbacks in today's game because if one gets hurt, you got to have that good quarterback to back them up just in case worst comes to worst.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Pop says that AP could go down as one of the Raider great coaches. And yeah, I mean, if he plays his cards right, absolutely,
Mhm.
he can go down right there with Madden. He won't. He probably won't have his own video game, although you never know. He might. He
Yeah,
might. But yeah, yeah. I mean, he's charismatic and he's got all the right attitude. I'm gonna be interested to see what he does with rest. These guys showing up, being there the whole off season, how he negotiates rest. It's
yeah.
gonna be interesting for me to see. So hopefully he doesn't run guys into the ground like Gruden used to. But we'll move on. Doppelganger says he still doesn't understand why everyone else, other than Raider Nation, thinks we're the worst. It's
Because
because
I don't know. Go ahead, brother.
go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, because the league hates on us, man. They don't like us. It's in history since Al Davis was fighting the league, suing them. They were going to court, and it stems from that going to today's age now. And I just got to ask y'all this: if you guys notice on highlights on anything with the NFL, why is it always showing the Raiders getting torched or burned?
Yes.
We're always that
Yeah.
picture, you know what I mean? And they just hate on
Yes.
us, you know, and
Oh,
that
absolutely.
won't change. That will not change until we
Bro,
put
they
them
do
all-
that even when we win.
Exactly.
dude, you know, and we
Yeah.
so and that will not stop until we win and we show them like hey, we're not the laughingstock of the NFL anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And winning
we
will
have to
solve
win
all
big.
that. It'll
Yeah, we have to win
it'll
big.
solve all because I see these guys on the radio shows, ESPN, NFL Network. You know, some do give us love, but not the love that we deserve. But the majority of them, they hate on us, man. They hate on us and they dog us.
Yeah.
You have to
we
remember
win-
that the NFL is a money-making machine. It all comes down to money and who's making the most money at that current time. You know, we had that's why you have dynasties in the NFL, and that's why those dynasties get favoritism. The 49ers had their dynasty.
Yeah.
The Cowboys had their dynasty. The Patriots had their dynasty. Now KC has their dynasty. But here's the thing: why one of the reasons why the Raiders have always been downtrodden is because we simply didn't make the NFL a lot of money, and now we're in Vegas with the most premier stadium in all of the NFL, and it gets sold out. Doesn't matter who's playing there.
Yeah.
That makes the NFL a lot of money. So what I'm hoping is I don't want favoritism. I just want an even playing field. I don't want the
Exactly.
Raiders to have to
Exactly.
defeat the opposing team and the referees.
Mhm.
Right? If we can just have, you know, if the and I think that this is going to start playing more in our favor. If you look at it last year, we were one of the least penalized teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
When was the last time that ever happened?
Hey, so I don't know if I saw this on ESPN or NFL Network, but one of them had the audacity to say that out of all the four teams in the AFC West, we had the worst quarterback group out of all the
That was
other
PFF.
three teams in there. You know,
Mhm.
that is like wow. You know what I mean? I'm like Bo Nix. I'm sorry, I won't even say that name anymore because he's been canceled. but that quarterback who I just said that you know they have him higher than AOC, and that guy has not even taken an NFL snap yet. You know,
Yeah.
And
you
rookies
know,
typically never pan out well in their rookie year in the NFL, especially when you have a team that has no weapons,
Right.
and is in disarray. Look at Carolina and what happened with
Yeah.
Bryce Young. I see
Exactly.
the exact same fate for the
Voldemort.
quarterback who shall be unnamed down there in
You can
Denver.
You can call them Voldemort. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Voldemort. Voldemort shall have a very difficult time this year. His spells will have no effect. But yeah, so I think that the fact that they just completely disparage the Raiders is because that's just the popular thing to do that the media has done for years. And unfortunately, we haven't done a whole lot to, you know, prove otherwise. But again, we were always playing against the opposing team and the referees.
and the referees.
I mean,
yeah.
we
Right.
would get 10, 11 penalties per game on average. You just sneeze on a player and you're getting an offensive interference or you're getting a roughing the quarterback. Yeah, I mean the most ridiculous penalties they would throw,
Yeah.
and it was obvious
Oh,
that
yeah.
that wasn't a
Oh,
penalty.
yeah.
yeah.
Whereas
Plus,
now that we're in Vegas, now we're making the NFL big money. Now that you know we're attracting more people to the NFL, and unfortunately, the NFL, thanks to the Supreme Court, is now open to online gambling, which I am totally against. And I know some people don't like my opinion on that, but I'm telling you right now, long term, it's going to not be good for the NFL. And it's also not a good thing to become a gambling addict either. I know some who have lost everything because of it. But that's neither here nor there. It's in Vegas, the capital of all of that type of
Exactly.
behavior. So
Exactly.
they want to not hate on the Raiders anymore. You don't. It's a bad business decision now to hate on them. You actually want to see
Yeah.
the Raiders have a dynasty. So I'm
Yeah.
hopeful, and I seen the result of it last year, where literally we were one of the least penalized teams in the NFL for the first time in 20 plus years,
Yeah. Yep.
and it's not
You know,
because of
plus,
coaching. It's just because the refs stopped calling
yeah,
felonious penalties.
yeah. So
Man.
they also hate because we're the bad boys, right? And
Right.
also they bring up rules. They'll go through the whole book of rules to try to find something like aside from the Raiders being first called for the tuck rule, I cannot even think of no other time prior to that when that rule was like
It was
was
never
called.
used.
It
Never
was.
They
It
went
used.
had
through
never
the
been used. Yeah.
whole book. It took so long for them to like
Yeah.
find something, against us. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, kids, keep looking. Okay, this one, boom. You know,
Tuck rule. What is this tuck rule?
Yeah.
What is that? I've
yeah,
never heard of it. Oh, it's a
yeah,
rule
like
that we
that.
passed a couple of years ago, and nobody's ever used it because it's a stupid rule. But I think this will do it right
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean,
like that.
I knew we were getting screwed when it took them like 10 minutes to come up with a
Yeah,
decision.
yeah. That was a
Dude.
crock, man. That was a crock.
It's,
You know?
well, as soon as I saw Bush in the stands, I knew we were screwed. But
Yeah.
But I mean, you also have to admit that there was much bigger things at play, and a lot of
yeah.
people don't realize this. 9/11 had just
Mhm.
happened.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you got a team called the Patriots up against a team called the
All the board
Raiders,
Raiders in the house. I see you, brother.
right? So it was obvious who the NFL wanted to promote because everybody was flying a flag in their front yard, on their cars, everything else.
Yeah,
And you got a team called the Patriots, and Congress was at
Right.
the time trying to
yeah,
pass a very unconstitutional bill called the Patriot
yeah,
Act, which gave the government the
Right.
ability to spy on any American it wanted to.
yeah,
So obviously, I knew right then and there. I was like, "Yep, we're getting screwed here. We're getting
yeah.
screwed. They're going to make sure
Yeah,
we don't go."
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
Um,
haunting. It's haunting, man.
A Trade makes a point here. He says, "I'm trying to trade for Hendon Hooker and let him sit. He has more upside than Anthony Brown for sure." What do you guys think about trying to steal Hendon Hooker away?
I mean, does he have more upside than Bradley, or are they about the same?
So
I think he has
me,
more.
A little bit more.
I would pick him over Bradley, and that's just me.
Mhm.
But I don't think the Lions would actually trade him away, barring the fact knowing that they just gave I
Golf.
can't Goff, that brand new deal, but I think that he's going to be their protege post the golf era. But would I like to have him? Absolutely. But would he start right away if we did have him? I don't see that happening because I don't think he could beat out AOC, honestly.
No.
But he has talent, he has a good arm, and he can run, like all that. But I feel more comfortable with AOC than with him right now, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. He's older than AOC.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, he's
is
old too. Yeah.
yeah. I think he was almost 26 when he got drafted or something to that effect. Um,
Christopher Rader says conspiracy alert, but it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Look, my conspiracy goes a little bit deeper because when the Patriots went to face the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, and they beat them, there were some very suspect calls in that game as well. And after the game, they were interviewing Marshall Falk, and he literally said, "The best team
Great
on the
commenter.
field
I see
lost.
that. Kudos.
The best team on the field lost. That's all I'm going to say about it." And he walked off.
This is true. This is true.
So he said very clear, like the Patriots were not the better team out here. We got screwed. The refs were against us, and
Yeah.
the rest is in the history books. That's not to take anything away from, again, what Tom Brady did throughout his career. Yes, he got a lot of favoritism, and that's what happens when you have a dynasty. But
Yeah, he was their golden boy, or he was the golden boy for
Yep.
for the NFL.
Made the NFL
he
a
was
lot of
their
money.
image. But I just have to say this. Ernest says there is not enough okay, I'm gonna just say this so we don't get canceled. There's not enough Hendon hookers in Vegas. No, there is. There is enough Hendon hookers in Vegas. We don't need him. So, touche to that comment.
Yeah, it's I took a showcase. We were doing a project in Salt Lake, and I had to take a showcase for a company that was moving their operations down to a hotel in Vegas. What was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and so we stayed at the hotel that night, and then like there were plenty of Hendon hookers everywhere. I was like, and I hadn't been to Vegas for a while, and I was like,
gotta watch out for those Hendon hookers.
I was like,
man.
oh my goodness, man. Like,
Hey, they are out there in all shapes, sizes, and forms of faction, man.
like, and this was I'm not gonna name the hotel, but this was one of the nicer hotels on the strip, and they were just like, it was just like bad. I was like, dude, you know, when I came to Vegas, 20 years ago, obviously they were there, but they were like more incognito. You know what I mean? They were very classy dressed. You know what I mean? Now it's just like, are you going to the beach? What are you wearing right now? You're in the lobby.
Yeah,
it's bad, man. It's bad.
Those Hendon hookers are shanty, man.
Yeah. It's like Hendon hooker, man. Come on, at least put the pads on, please. Stop wearing the jock strap around the
always
lobby.
Always wear your pads, kids.
Yes, always wear your pads.
Wear pads, especially if there's Hendon hookers around.
Yes, that's right.
Safety first. Safety first.
Safety first. Absolutely. Let's see. This is a good comment. He says, "Why would we trade for Hendon Hooker when we don't know what the kid has? He hasn't even played it down in this league. Yet we know what we have in the quarterback that we've got already."
Courtney, it's a great joke you just said. I see that. He says, would rather see a Hendon Hooker than a Penix.
I agree. Sometimes a Hendon Hooker is a Penix.
This podcast just went off a hill.
Hey, so look, so I just have to say one last thing. So
it's Western's fault this time.
It's A-Train's fault.
So there is people out there who don't say Penix, they say Penix, and I laugh so hard when they say that.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure that's not it. That is not it.
That's not it. That is not it.
All right.
Raiders Rebel is asking what is Raiders Rebel is asking what is the record for this year. I've gone on record saying we're 14-3. Hopefully 17-0. But I think realistically 14-3.
I have 12. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, I have 12. I have 12-5. Really easy. That's my prediction. Go ahead.
I say so. I have 3 different scenarios, but to just cut to the chase. Worst comes to worst, we will win at least 10 games minimum and make the wild card.
Okay. All right. So anywhere from 10 on the low with Western here up to, what did you say, 14? 14-3? Yeah. So in that range. I'm right smack dab in the middle.
Mike Downs makes a great point. He says, it will always work in the era of football. The great Bill Walsh said, it's nice to have a quarterback who can throw deep, but I want a quarterback accurate for 20 yards. And that plays right into the West Coast offense that we're going to be doing because Bill Walsh was the godfather of the West Coast offense.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when you got mismatched tight ends like Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer over the middle of the field, and wide receivers who corners cannot handle. Oh, speaking of that, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Ramel
Keaton in the game against the corner that we were going to draft. Now I'm having a brain fog. Is he from Bama?
Oh yeah. This is the kid that I'm not too high on.
What's his name?
Terry and Arnold.
Terry and Arnold.
Yeah,
Terry and Arnold got destroyed,
torched
humiliated
by Ramel Keaton.
By Ramel Keaton, undrafted free agent. They are like right now. I just seen a video on it that was highlighting how he destroyed him, Terry and Arnold. Ramel Keaton may be the biggest steal of the draft.
Either that, or I'm right, and Terry and Arnold is Jeff Okudah, but we'll see. Or some of both. Right?
Yeah, Terry and Arnold had absolutely no answers for Ramel Keaton in that game.
No, he's physically gifted in a way that he can't match up with because he's just kind of regular as a guy. You got to be able to run. You got to really be able to run because you don't know where you're going, and the receiver does. So there you go.
Yeah.
Raiders Rebel says they're not giving that kid up. Every team needs a solid backup. With 64 different quarterbacks starting last year, I don't see them trading him away, and that's Hendon Hooker. So yeah, we got a lot of Hendon Hooker stuff going back and forth here.
I don't see them trading him away either because I mean, you had Jordan Love out there in Green Bay. The same thing could have been said, well, you got Aaron Rodgers. Why do you have Jordan Love? That's the whole reason why you have Jordan Love, because you don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. Right? And Goff can get hurt. So
absolutely.
What's your backup plan? You got to have that backup plan. So, they're not going to get rid of Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. Yeah, and at this point, we're not bringing in anybody that's going to be seriously challenging at the quarterback position. We have our guys. We've got to decide between those two. I think adding to somebody else just complicates it to a point that's unreasonable. So, maybe next year, guys. So, we have our quarterbacks, and I'm happy with them. So, yeah. Raiders Rebel says, let's see here. 1 second. He says, question: if the Raiders start 5-1 or 6-2, are you still going to feel the same way about AOC not being our quarterback?
So do you mean that Gardner is going to be the starter going into the season?
I think we all here. Yeah, I think we all here think it's going to be AOC. I do think that Gardner Minshew is being underrated. But I think both the quarterbacks are underrated, actually. So I think that AOC, with his body change, and like I said earlier, with the coaching staff and the whole organization wanting him to win the job, because that's the better situation for us, I think all signs point to him being the guy.
And I know Raiders Rebel is a big fan of Minshew. And like I said, if Aiden O'Connell wasn't with the team, if he, decided to go down to Tijuana and get lost for 6 months or something, then I think it's a great problem to have of a Gardner Minshew challenging your QB1 for the position, because Gardner Minshew is, he's a player. He's a football player. He's also a master swordsman, apparently. If anybody's seen that, if you've seen that video of mine showing him playing around with a samurai sword, I'm just like, God, please don't cut your leg off, dude.
Yeah,
we need you.
That didn't look good. Yeah.
But Gardner Minshew, I think if he were to come in, let's say we brought him in to be the stopgap quarterback for 2 years. That was why we brought him here. And AOC's going to be a backup. We're going to bench him. That's the whole plan. Let's just play that scenario out. Mm-hmm. Gardner Minshew comes in. He probably gets you 10 wins, maybe 12. Make the playoffs as a wild card team. Possibly win the AFC West, but unlikely. But then where do you go from there? What do you do next year? Because is he going to get you more next year than he did this year? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think that I don't think that Gardner Minshew has a high enough upside, and I don't think that the Raiders believe he does, which is why you brought him in on a 2-year cheap deal. You don't bring a face of the franchise guy in because you believe he's going to be QB1 and only pay him $12 million a year, not for a quarterback, and not on a 2-year deal. If you believe he's going to be your franchise quarterback, if you believe he's going to get you to the promised land, you go and pay a guy like that 30 million, 40 million a year, 5-year deal. That's what teams do for a free agent quarterback that they believe can get them there. So it's very obvious that the Raiders don't believe that Minshew is the answer. He is a insurance policy. That's what his contract spells out, insurance.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also doesn't
will
mean that
say-
they believe that AOC is the guy either, but it
Yeah.
does bode better for AOC that we did not try to go and get Kirk Cousins. Like, we had enough confidence in AOC, like, we're not going to go get Kirk Cousins. We think AOC has a shot.
I will say that when we brought in Rich Gannon, John Gruden's quote about him was, "He's a good player. He could make all the throws." Does that sound familiar? So anyway, he wasn't thought of as too much either. And I know you want to fight, Rich Gannon for not winning a Super Bowl, like it's his fault somehow, Raider D. But
Who threw the interceptions?
they had our playbook, bro, and all of our audibles. Like,
Still-
come on.
Still got to make the throw.
Come on.
Still got to make the throw.
Western, can you talk some sense into this guy, or is it
So
just
I'm
me?
gonna just say my whole take on that. I'm a hot side. With this, they knew our playbook. John Lynch was calling audibles, which was like he was calling audibles mid game, knowing exactly what we were gonna do, and that shifted everything. I go on and on. Like I'll just say this one take here, and then I'll stop because I'll just keep going and going on about it. But supposedly it was supposed to be a run-heavy offensive game plan, and then at the last second we switched it up to pass-heavy. That threw a big hole there, and then with Bill Callahan and not switching our signals and our plays, that was definitely
Well, no, he did.
detrimental.
He did. He switched the entire playbook, and then a week before the Super Bowl, he switched it back.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Jerry Rice said that. Jerry Rice said that he didn't understand.
I felt like, aside from Rich Gannon, if you put any other quarterback that was there that was facing his former coach who knew the offense, who's been in that offensive system for quite some time, then he's gonna know, off top, like what's gonna happen before he can even hike the ball. So that's just how I feel about that. Yes, Rich Gannon did throw picks and all that, but I don't blame him for that. That was
I still want to strap up some gloves, some headgear.
with Gannon.
Yeah. I want to get an octagon with Gannon, man.
Dude,
We're gonna put on a
yeah.
charity event, right? We're gonna raise money for the Blitnikoff Foundation.
Yeah.
it should be.
I'm
with
gonna ref
Callahan. It should be with Callahan, not Rich Gannon.
That's what everybody keeps saying, right?
But
He wants it for Rich.
But Callahan, like, first of all, nobody cares about him, and second of all, he's like 80 years. Dude's like 80 years old.
Oh,
At least
well,
at least Rich is only like 15 years older than me. He's not that much older, and he's former pro
yeah.
athlete and stuff. So he'll probably win. He'll probably whoop
Yeah.
my butt, but it'll be for a
Yes.
good cause. We'll raise money for underprivileged kids.
yeah.
He's gonna Tyson you, bro. He's gonna Tyson you. It's
I
good
mean,
for you.
he might. In fact,
Yeah,
if we can get this arranged, I think I'm gonna call Mike Tyson and be like, bro, can I come train with you? I really need
Oh
some help.
my, for real.
And then
Show me.
I so like something just a bit off of the track. I just gotta say to the Raider Nation watching, I believe, and this is me speaking here, I believe that Rich Gannon is better than Derek Carr. I just have to say that. I argue with people about Derek Carr saying he's the greatest Raider quarterback ever. Different era back then. I had some people say he's better than Stabler, better than Plunkett. Completely different eras, and I believe Carr, yes, stats because they try to pull up the like stats on me and all that. And trust me, I'm not hating on Carr, but if you have to argue with me and say that Carr was the greatest quarterback ever to play for the Raiders, that's completely false. So
Carr was the
I
best
trust
quarterback for 9 years for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. There you go. If you look at the stats, Gannon and Carr, I think, have almost the same exact amount of games played or something to that effect. Very similar stats. Of course, Gannon played in an era where it was much harder to attain the stats that Carr did. And then, of course, the win percentage is the big difference there.
The win percentage
Carr-
and the red zone percentage.
Put
Carr-
Gannon was way better in the red zone.
put Derek
just
Carr
heads, tails, yeah.
in the Kenny Stabler area. He ain't gonna put up those numbers.
No.
Not a chance. No, not a chance.
And
Yeah.
that's why people always want to compare like, Michael Jordan to players now. Well,
Yeah.
no,
Yes,
you can't.
yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
What
No.
were the Jordan rules? Like
Yeah.
what the Pistons style of defense? The entire starting five of the Pistons would be ejected from the game nowadays,
Well,
right?
yeah,
So
just-
Jordan
just the
was
hand
able to.
check.
Yeah, Jordan was able to do what he was able to do with that type of defense that doesn't even exist in the NBA anymore. Now it's basically you just run down the court and shoot pretty much uncontested in the NBA. That's not how it was back in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah.
in the NFL it's the same thing. Like, you could literally spear a quarterback in the back of the head with your helmet and knock him unconscious.
Yeah.
And that was perfectly legal back in the 70s. You can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If that happened to Derek Carr one time, he would probably retire right now. Because look at how gun shy he was after he just broke a leg. Imagine if people were able to spear him in the face
Yeah.
with their
Yes.
helmets.
Yeah, and then I just have to make this clear. I'm not hating on Derek Carr, y'all. To all the guys watching, I'm just saying.
No, I
I'm
love
just
Derek
saying,
Carr.
I like Derek Carr. He's a good guy. He's a good person on and off the field. But if we're gonna sit down and say, hey, who was the best Raiders guy or the Raiders quarterback to suit up, I'm not gonna pick Derek Carr. So that's all I'm trying to pick.
Yeah,
It's all relative to the era of football that they played in, right? So it's you can't say one player is better than the other when there's a 30-year difference and the game is completely changed. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He's not elite.
Speaking of Carr, Week 17 against Carr and the Saints in New Orleans. I mean, that's a hell of a storyline. What's your take on that matchup, Western?
I believe we're gonna run up that scoreboard. I believe we're gonna run it up on them, and I personally think that we're gonna beat the Saints by at least 14 points, at least, and we're gonna AOC is gonna want to shove it to Derek Carr and just show him like hey, like this is why I'm here, and it's it's my time now, and aside from like that, the Saints don't have no real weapons aside from Olave and Kamara, you know what I mean, and their defense is so that's just how I feel, and I feel like it's gonna be a cakewalk win.
I think
Raider D?
I think one of the things that you have to be careful with Derek Carr is if you think it's going to be an easy win with him, that's typically when he starts to play his best football. And this is essentially for him, if he loses to the Raiders, he'll be the only quarterback to have literally lost to every single team in the NFL. That's a stat you don't want on your career. I think he's going to come out. He's going to one of two things. The pressure's going to get to him. He's going to try and do too much, and he's going to throw interceptions. Or he's going to come in ball out. One of the two. The thing that's going to be funny, though, is in his little joking video where he's like, yeah, I'm going to punch Max Crosby in the mouth and then run away and not let the referee see it. And
He should have never said that.
now, like, Max loves Carr. But
Yeah.
when it's on the
Oh, he's gonna
football
put him on
field,
that.
you're
real.
just another snack
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
Yep.
for my meal, man. So
Yeah. Yeah. You know who doesn't love
Condor
Carr?
is gonna eat that game. The Condor will eat.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Christian Wilkins doesn't know him like that. So
I can't wait to hear Christian Wilkins' mouthpiece just
Yeah.
yapping, yapping at him.
Yeah.
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 They're definitely going to be in his face, and again, it's going to depend. I mean, that's way late in the season. It's going to depend on each team's injury issues, health, who's all going to be starting. Will Carr even be the starting
Ready,
quarterback
right?
by week
Playing.
17?
Yeah. Great. Yep. Yep.
Because he might get benched. I mean, if they
Yep,
go
and
0 and 6,
Spencer Rattler's up.
they might
Yeah,
start the
and
rookie.
they got to figure out what to do with that contract of his.
Yep.
You know, if he's not going to be the guy, then he could end up getting, I don't know, benched.
Yeah,
halfway through the
so he
season
might
to make
not
sure
even.
he doesn't get
He might
injured.
not even play.
Yeah, he might end up with the same fate with the Saints that he did with us, benched to keep him from getting injured, so they can do something with that contract. So that would be interesting.
Now here's the controversial question. I've gotten this in my comment section in the past. If the Saints cut him, do the Raiders bring him back if AOC doesn't take that leap?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. That bridge is burned. And once that
Even
man,
to let him retire as a backup?
One he can come back one day to hoist the jersey and do the whole press conference. But
but
not on grass again.
man,
Don't make me
I
live
don't
that.
see him
I can't do it.
starting a game for the Las Vegas Raiders again in the future. That's just
Listen, if he had left and made sure we got a pick for him rather than, I don't know, making sure we got absolutely nothing for him, maybe I'd feel different. But, he didn't help us out.
Played us on that. He did what was right for like him, but for him to kind of be like, yeah, like he was like he's acting like he was weighing his options and all that. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
And then you go and sign with the Saints. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for that because look at how the Raiders did him. I mean, not only are you, we're going to bench you and we're going to move on from you, but we don't even want you to be at the game. We don't even want you to finish the season with your team, with your brothers.
Yeah.
Like Derek
But
Carr
you
is
guys-
not a cancerous dude. He's not going to be in the locker
Oh,
room.
no
like,
way.
"Rah, rah,
No
rah."
way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That was weird.
That's
That's
super
Josh
dirty.
McDaniels.
Yeah,
That's the
super
Josh
dirty.
McDaniels
Yeah.
effect.
Yep.
But
And you know what? He
Carr's
even
gotta
said,
separate
bro,
that.
he even said everything was fine. He was holding no grudges until they made his wife cry. And that's where he drew the line.
Man. They made his wife cry.
They made his wife cry. Like that's it, man.
Yep.
You're now this is war, right? But I don't think that
Yeah.
I don't think Derek Carr has any hatred. I mean, he's not a hateful person, right? I would like to see Derek Carr come back and retire as a Raider.
I don't think Carr, has any hate for the Raiders, but I do know that he feels some type of way, about us and just how that all went down.
But the
Do you
cancer's
think
gone,
it's
though.
us?
The cancer's
do you think it's
gone.
us? Right. I would think that he feels some type of way about McDaniels, which is why he should have separated that from, I don't know, the other 9 years and the whole rest of the organization. But neither here nor
I don't
there.
think he even has an issue with Mark Davis, to be honest. I don't
think so either. Yeah.
I think because Mark Davis made it very clear that he allowed, McDaniels and his little lackey to make that decision. So, Mark maybe could have stood up and said no to it or whatever, but you kind of got to trust the guys that you hired for their position, which is general manager, to do what's best.
I feel like he feels some type of way, towards us because like someone in the front office or someone could have came in and be like, nah, no, like we're gonna treat him better than that,
But if you look at Charles Woodson was done kind of dirty by Al Davis, right? And that's how he ended up with Green Bay because he literally said that the Raiders didn't want me anymore, and that's why I went to Green Bay.
I don't think it was in the same passion with Derek Carr though. Like I think Carr in his way, you know what I mean, by him being benched, not allowed to be there, like all that. I just thought,
Agreed. Like that's McDaniels, and the
yeah.
cancer is gone, right?
Mhm.
Like
But back to just what I'm saying. I just felt like Carr is thinking too, like, hey, like why didn't Mark Davis or somebody else in the front office kind of come in and put the
so
kibosh on
but
that, you know?
wait. Here's my proof of why you're wrong.
Go ahead, shoot it, brother.
Derek Carr himself said, "Wow, how nice would it be to play for a coach like Antonio Pierce?" Like wink, wink. Like, hey,
yeah, no, yeah, yeah,
maybe
no,
this
no, I get
New
it.
Orleans ain't gonna work out. I'm just
You know,
saying.
we're
Yeah.
we're the cool team. We're the cool kids now. We're the popular guys. We're the guys wearing the varsity jackets. And Carr don't have his varsity jacket. You know, he wants to come, you know, down, you know, over here. You know, he's you know, but I'm sorry. You know, it's just me. You know, I felt like, you know, that train is gone. And Derek Carr now, you know, like, yeah, I give him his props for playing for us, you know, and providing a service, but he's an afterthought to me now, and he's on the Saints, and we're gonna crush him. Yeah,
For
and
sure,
that's how I feel.
we're gonna crush him. I just, I don't want him to come back to be the starter. I do want to see him because the dude gave everything he could, and he's just a quality person. And so, once a Raider, always a Raider. And
Mhm.
McDaniels violated the way we do things in the Raider Nation, which is why he was let go on Halloween night while he's out trick or treating with his kids. Like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
we can play that
Yeah.
game too. So
Right.
here's a text message: you're fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yeah, I would love to see Derek Carr come back because I think that Devontae Adams will retire a Raider. I think we'll, even if, as he gets older, we will renegotiate his contract in order to make sure that he retires a Raider. And if we're winning and getting to a Super Bowl, Devontae will do that because he's already super
Mhm.
rich.
So
He does,
Yep.
I don't mind him coming back to, you know, sign that 1 day contract, you know, just to like retire for us, but for him to come back and for us to sign him and play under center for us, I don't think that's gonna happen. And
yeah. I mean, at best, you would bring him back, like, even if it's a 1 year deal. Aiden O'Connell balls out this year, and he's our franchise guy.
mm,
Derek Carr is such a classy dude that, let's say Gardner Minshew left, and the Raiders, want to bring back Derek Carr. Derek Carr is going to play for 1 more year and then retire or something like that. You bring him in as a backup quarterback, standing on the sideline, mentoring and supporting AOC. I could see the Raiders doing something like that. I could see Mark Davis doing something like that because I
yeah,
think Mark Davis feels some kind of way about how all that went down, and I think he kind of feels guilty for it. That's a
yeah,
possibility that the Raiders could do, or I definitely see the 1 day signing just so that he can retire officially as a Raider, which is our tradition.
Mhm.
Whenever somebody was a starter on the team for 9 years,
Yeah.
the tradition is you come back and you retire as a Raider. And so
Yeah.
I think he will.
Yeah.
And Charles Woodson
Absolutely.
did it. And Charles Woodson won a Super Bowl with Green Bay, but you never hear him talk about Green Bay. It's always the
Yeah.
Raiders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
our interview did the same thing. Right. Came back and became a Raider once again. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So Ernest is talking about all the weapons and the defense. Yeah. I mean, Lauby's, Zeus, Madison, Bowers, Mayer, Adams, Myers, Tucker, right? And the defense is full of weapons for their own part. So, yeah,
Mm.
excited, man. And Dylan Lauby, man, I know.
Danny Woodhead 2.0, baby.
Yeah. The more I look at the tape, it's insane. I know we have Amir Abdul. I know he's a veteran, but that dude better watch himself because Lauby's coming, bro. He's coming.
Yeah.
Like I said on that earlier, I think this is most likely Amir Abdullah's last season. He's 30-year-old running back. And if you watch the little mini documentary on Raiders.com about Abdullah, his passion now is writing and producing and creating little movies.
Right.
He's already made one like mini documentary type movie or something like that. He's got 2 more in the works. And he loves, film. He loves cameras. He loves that. Like, that's going to be his career post football. I think he's planning for that. He's on a 1-year deal, correct? I think we re-signed him to a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
He's most likely
Yeah.
going to retire after this year, and that's why you went and got Dylan Laube. I think Laube will get in there and he'll get some snaps, but the majority is going to be Abdullah because he is the surefire guy.
Yeah.
Like me and Hot Beavers were talking about it. Like,
He's clutch.
3rd and 8. You're not expecting to pick up a first down, and all of a sudden he picks up 8.5. Right? He's that clutch dude. So I think his position is safe for this year, and we're gonna work Dylan Laube in as special teams, which is something he already alluded to as well. He's excited to get out there and earn his position on special teams, and then we'll evaluate how he comes in as this hybrid running back receiver type guy. And he'll take over for Amir Abdullah after next year.
What do you think, Western? What's your call on it?
I'm sorry. What?
Laube. Laube versus Abdullah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly to what Raider D said. This guy. So Abdullah. Clutch City, man. There's times where we have to make, a play for that first down, and he comes through, man. You see, like, you throw it down to him for like a check down, and we need nine yards. He'll get 10 yards. You know what I mean? Or if he runs the ball, he gets us that first down when a lot of the players on the opposing defense is they're covering certain guys, but they don't really expect Abdullah to come out of the backfield to do some damage. And since this is his last year and his passion is, to be in filming post NFL, I could see us getting Dylan more reps into this season to get him more familiar with our offense to have a bigger role going to the following season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, we're getting props from Ernest. He says you guys hit on the reality of what this team is, clear-minded info, and the fans on here are savvy also. Shout out to the chat on fire. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always, man.
Appreciate you guys.
For real. I mean, you guys could host your own shows. I think some of you do, right? Raiders Rebel? Go check them out.
Raider Rebel in the house.
Yes, sir.
He makes some good stuff. He says Jacoby Myers had 8 touchdowns, the same as DA, and only 400 yards less, but was targeted 74 times. So less. This team will be scary when they can't double DA because of Brock Bowers. Right.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of locking on and forcing the ball from our rookie quarterback to DA, and he's trying to negotiate being a rookie, having a receiver like that. What's too much? What's too little? I think that he'll have that more under control in his second year. So,
yeah. And I mean, I guess technically Devontae Adams had a down year last year, but he still got over 1,000 yards receiving, 100+ touches. His touchdowns were down a bit, but I think that most of that was due to the fact that we weren't able to get him the ball with Jimmy Garoppolo, especially in the red zone. AOC threw a couple of touchdowns to him. He had one in the Miami game, and then another one I think was in the Broncos game. I think it was where he had that backpedal touchdown in the end zone. So that was kind of the issue last year by no means whatsoever did Devontae Adams have a terrible year. Whenever a
Yeah.
receiver gets over 1,000 yards and over 100 touches, that's not a bad year. That's a pretty good year. Now, however, you have added an additional weapon and you've changed the offense that's going to be more favorable to a guy like Devontae Adams, who had his best year in 2020. That's the offense that we're going to be running now. The only question is, will Aiden O'Connell be able to replicate even 80% of what Aaron Rodgers was able to do in 2020? If he can just do 80% of Aaron, Devontae gets 14 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, 110, 115 catches. Brock Bowers probably gets, 400 or 500 yards.
Brock Bowers.
Probably
Brock
ends up
Bowers.
with 7 or 8 touchdowns. Michael Mayer ends up with 4 or 5 touchdowns. Jacoby ends up with 8 to 10 touchdowns. AOC throws 40 touchdowns.
Man, so it's a pick your poison type of offense, man. Because if you want to cover this guy, then we got this man. We have. I mean, I try to be biased or being on the hopium, but man, we got weapons, man, and
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
luck trying to stop every weapon we have that's coming at you, man.
Mismatch.
Yeah,
And-
It just
and
calls a
here's-
mismatch.
And here's the problem, because we have so many receiving threats, that pushes the safeties and the linebackers off the line,
yeah,
which then opens the door for Zamir White, Madison, and company with Amir Abdullah, Lauby, and whoever else is going to be in there to put up a 1,500-yard season running back by committee. Maybe even 2,000 yards running back by committee. So yeah, it's like I said, pick your poison. You have to go back and you have to guard Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, all of the other additions that we have brought to the table with Guyton and with the kid from Dallas,
Gallup. Michael
Gallup, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Who do you defend? And if you defend all of them, well, now you've just left our offensive line one-on-one with your defensive line, which is going to open up holes for the running game. And so now we just run the ball down your throat. And as soon as you bring up your linebackers and your safeties to try and stop the run,
Back in the box, man. You guys are done for.
yeah, now we just
Play
pick you
action.
apart. Now we
Yeah.
just pick
Play
you apart.
action.
So.
And I love the
Yeah.
play action.
Yeah, I think it's going to play right into the hands of whoever our quarterback is. Again, I 100% believe it's going to be Aiden O'Connell, and I think he's going to have a fantastic year too. And I truly believe if he does that, he'll be the franchise quarterback for the next 10, 15 years. If he comes out and he's just okay, and we're just barely winning games, I think next year we maybe try to do something in the draft and draft somebody or something, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be kind of hard, though, with all the weapons that we have, the West Coast offense, which is very favorable to smart quarterbacks like AOC, kind of hard for him not to have a great year.
Yeah.
Yep, spot on.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Factory,
there's a ton for him to work with. My pops says Stash is 15 and 22 over his career. This is true, but I will cite 59 touchdowns and 24 interceptions, basically in less than
How many?
3 seasons.
What? How many fumbles?
Let's not talk about that. Let's just move on.
Because I do always hear the stats of touchdowns to interceptions, but we do forget he has a lot of fumbles.
He has a few fumbles. This is true.
Yeah.
This is very true. And it's the running around, scrambling stuff that he does, on
Yeah.
bad teams that I think has something to do with that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Um,
excited for both of them. I do got to run, guys, so I got to head out. But awesome live, as always, with the trio finally getting back together. It's been
man.
too long, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been so once again, the Raider Nation watching out there. I've been grinding at the grindhouse at work. I've just been trying to get as much overtime hours as I can because so if y'all don't know, I am a custodian at a high school, and once the kids are out of school, there's no overtime. So that's why I'm trying to get it all while I can. And next week will be the final week of overtime for me. So then I'll be, available on Saturdays and Sundays to hop on and do content with my brothers here. And if you guys have not, make sure to check out my channel, Raider D channel. My dude, Hotspot here, he's absolutely a Genzu blade when it comes to the stats and numbers, and I love doing this type of content here. And we've all been with each other since day one, and it's great to see each other grow. And one thing I have to say too, Hotspot, man, congratulations on getting that 1K subs, man. You deserve it, man. You put out killer content, bro. So
Thank
salute
you. Thank you.
Salute
Yeah, and it's coming quick too. Like,
Yeah.
like he was at like 187. It seems like just last week, and now he's at like almost 1300.
There's always that certain like 1 or 2 or 3 videos you make, and it just skyrockets, man. And then you just get guys who just want to like they're like just picking it, and man, it's an incredible feeling, and it's great. Man. So salute to Hotspot, man. Salute to you, man.
Man, salute to the chat and all the fans and all my subs. Y'all are amazing. Like, to take me from, 180 or whatever to, something like 1,200 or whatever in like a month is crazy. So thank you very much. And I'll continue to try to put out the stuff you guys want to hear and involve you guys in the discussion and try to make the community happy with what we're doing here. So thank you. Yeah. So D, I know you got to get out of here. Thanks for coming, and go take care of your family.
Anytime, brother. Y'all have a great day, and Raiders just win, baby. I'll see you guys later.
All right, brother.
See you late. So you want to stick around, or you got to get out?
Yeah, so 4:31. I got to like 4:40ish. So yeah, man, I'll be on here for the last 10. I gotta jam out and take my wife and my kid out. Yeah. They've been kind of like it's time to go out and eat and eat. And I'm like, okay, all right.
So, right.
When wife comes in and she pops in that door and she looks, it's that
look,
and I call her the warden because she is the warden here, So,
That's how it works. All right, let's try to fly through these chats real quick just to make sure everybody gets heard real quick, and then we'll get out of here. So we talked about. I put this one up. If he has a weak arm, how's he overthrowing Trey Tucker?
Yeah,
on numerous occasions, right? So big deal there. I think that's a good point. He said he's got an arm. Carson Bradley also has good stuff. You're right. Ernest is on fire today.
Bringing that ether to the chat today.
Hey, Ernest, please come back every time because you're bringing fire. Man. I love it.
Appreciate you
very much. So, but Carson Bradley is amazing. I'm gonna have a video coming out just on him. I think there's some potential there. Coach's son.
Exactly, Gus Bradley's son. So to all the guys out there and girls who don't know, that is a son of Gus Bradley, our former defensive coordinator.
Yeah. So that's always an advantage. Chris says everybody looks down on AOC. He never got any reps with the first team. Really never threw to DA or Myers. It's true. He had to figure it out on the fly. That's why I think him and Trey Tucker had that special hookup because of all the reps they got together. So that was good. Watched his tape last night. Ernest looking for full game tape. Not sure who we're talking about right now. Oh,
I think
probably Bradley.
Yeah. Okay,
Bradley. Yeah, that makes sense. And then let's see. I don't see why we couldn't use them in different situations, like New Orleans used Breeze and their other quarterbacks.
So he means rotating between AOC and Gardner.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? I could see them doing that too. So that's something that we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, interesting. I've always thought if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. So I
Yeah,
think you got to pick one and roll with it and let the team
yeah.
rally behind that. That's my opinion. But let's see. Oh, Toya, what's up? She says, I don't care who's winning the starting position. I expect the same thing. Championships. Thank you very much. I agree.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
win, baby. Just
absolutely.
win.
I don't care
Right?
how we do it, just win. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Doppelganger's talking about the highlights of AOC out there threading needles and showing arm strength. He's also not afraid to stand in the pocket and take a hit, which is
Mhm.
huge. I will
Facts.
say that our last quarterback wasn't too keen on doing that, but we'll just move on. Um, Ernest, he says, we got Every's cousin. We talked about that.
Nice.
Um, Chris says the NFL wanted more points in exciting football, so they changed the rules to punish the defense.
Yep.
This is true. This is why Carr and his stats don't equate to Gannon and his stats during that time, in my opinion. So,
Mm.
Rebel says Antonio Pierce said he wants depth at every position and a battle. Well, he's got it, and I can't wait to see what we do with it. Awesome, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, depth different. Uh, Chris Rady says the cornerback room will get better because of the depth. That makes sense. Yeah. Um, my grandkids are coming over at 4:30. I hope this is over by then. Otherwise, she's gonna be pissed. Oh man, I'm
No,
sorry.
I
We didn't
I
mean.
I feel it when your wife she comes in or your family comes in and you get that eye, that's a sign.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand A Train.
Well, if you guys stop saying smart things in the chat, then I can go. But you guys keep saying smart
Yeah,
stuff. I have
yeah,
to read it.
yeah, great
I
content.
mean, yeah,
Great
yeah.
comments,
So
man.
Raiders Rebel says the drop off from starting quarterback to backup on most teams in NFL is tremendous. This is true. I don't know if you can call it a drop. They're pretty even. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that makes a huge difference. I could go through the teams. I think we have a better quarterback room then because it's a room, not just one player.
Yep.
Um, and Chris says the NFL hates us. Yes, this is
Yeah.
true. And then Mike, I agree. Absolutely.
Absolutely agree to
Um,
that. Amen to
yeah.
that.
You guys should go check out the community page. I have a little T-shirt that I think uh, does that very well.
Sweet.
Yeah, go check it out. And then Raiders Rebel says real. I'm not sure what that's about. But Mike Downs says when we beat them at home, the NFL will wake up. That's true.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, if we start 7-0, they're gonna have to really wake up, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Raiders Rebel said that the Raiders have always made the NFL money because of merchandise. This is true. This is
Correct.
very true. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, even though we
That's
weren't
fact.
selling tickets, we were still always like number one or
And yeah,
top five in merchandise, which is divided amongst all the teams. So they actually got a better revenue split from merchandise than they would have gotten from the gate. But that's getting a little in the weeds. Ernest says the Maverick Al Davis had Alioto, and they helped
the Barlows,
the
yeah.
Bartlows to land the San Francisco 49ers. Al's doing the NFL favors by his leadership. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Al should have been the commissioner, and that's where that all got started between him and Pete Rozelle. It's Chris Ferreira says, "How are we the worst when the Donkeys have Nix, Wilson, Stidman? So how are we the worst? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
put a. I could name a lot of different teams that I'd rather have our quarterback room than. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Courtney says, hold on. Courtney says we definitely ain't the laughing stock anymore. I had two coworkers bet me 400 collectively that our Raiders wasn't going to win over 5 games this year. I gladly took the bet.
Good
job.
bet. Easy
Make that
money.
money, Courtney. Yeah,
Easy
that's easy money,
money.
bro. That's easy
Easy
money, bro.
money.
Yeah, 5 or 6. I think the line is 6.5. I don't gamble, but man, I'm tempted. That's just insane,
Yeah, man. That is tempting for sure.
right? Every Mike Down says every team this season will know that they played the Raiders. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, that's right.
Mm,
That's
bring
right.
that back, dude. Where
Mm.
every the week after the Raiders was the week you're gonna lose. You hope you have a bye week just because you're all beat up, right? Easy money. That's right. Easy,
Mhm.
easy money. Make that bet. Let's see. All aboard up in here. All aboard needs to come on the show. One of my favorite content creators. Been
Yeah, he's a
watching this
cool
dude.
dude, man. Cool dude.
Yeah, yeah. Ever since he was doing the Madden replays and stuff, man, it was
Yeah,
awesome.
he's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He says maybe Aid will get some calls now that the TP12 number will change.
Yeah, yeah. I hope. I'm hoping he'll get some of those Brady calls, man.
They're just gonna think it's Brady, like have a flashback and just like
Yeah.
give us the call. It's 12 and he's tall. Yeah. Toya says that's what I'm gonna do. Get the money while I can. So she's putting money on it. Nice.
Smart. It's a smart
Um,
investment.
let's see. Mike says win or lose, they know they played the Raiders, and I bet they wouldn't want to play us again.
Mhm.
That's right. That's right. Ernest says Al also told the Steelers coach to start Terry Bradshaw back in the 70s. Look what Terry did, 4 Super Bowls. Oh, San Francisco had 5 Super Bowls. Al is the NFL genius. Yeah, we could just keep going on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
The great
the
Al Davis, man.
Chargers offense is because of him. So we'll just keep going with that now. Raiders Rebel says now that's wishful thinking. All aboard. Is this based on All Aboard's comment earlier? I think about what he expects us to do
Yeah.
in the season. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, I mean they're probably not going to give us calls no matter what he's wearing. Courtney says I told him that we will win many games just off the defense. Everybody's giving shout outs to All Aboard. And let's see here. Oh, yeah, we're big money now. The NFL is never going to embrace us, bro.
Yeah.
Not until, I don't know, this like group of owners passes it on or something, maybe. There's just a lot of bitter stuff. They had to pay us a lot of money out of pocket.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And let's see. Aiden's going to excel on the West Coast. Absolutely. I agree. Let's see. Raiders Rebel thinks we're going to have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense, possibly. Nice. And then let's see. Mike says it will always work in the era of football. The great Bill Walsh said it's nice to have a quarterback. Yes. Yeah, we read this one. It's huge, right? You got to be able to complete passes. So more than have a huge arm. CBS has a 7 and 10. Good.
Yeah,
God.
they're haters, man.
Okay. All right. Well,
Haters.
most looks like we got 11 and 6 from Chris for Raiders. 2 games above 500 from Los Angeles Raider. Me says you got us with 10. If we steal one from KC, it's 11. Okay. Hilarious thought they have us rated as one of the worst quarterback rooms, but isn't Garner's career stat better than Trevor Lawrence? This is true. This is true. Let's see. Curse Raiders at 500. Okay, yeah, 10 or 11 wins. Yeah, he's saying still. Keaton is a steal. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, we got a lot of steals. I'm going to put out another UDFA video just on 5 more players that I think are absolute steals out of our class. So I think we got 10 players that are actually roster worthy. So let's see. And he was saying 2 games over. Yeah. Let's see. Ernest is calling some victories here. Courtney says, let the quarterbacks compete. Yeah, what if San Francisco never gave Brock a chance? It's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Brock Purdy coming at all, man? Or was that a complete surprise?
That was definitely a surprise when he first came out, and he started to have that good season. I didn't expect him to come out like that, and I thought that it was all luck. And then he came out the following season and he played good. But I honestly believe, because I have friends that are Niner fans, we banter back and forth all the time, and I go, Purdy's good, but I think he's a product of the Shanahan offense.
Yeah.
And then they counter with, well, what about Trey Lance? And I go, well, Trey Lance was just, like failure that not even Shanahan could have worked with him, or fix him, like he was so broken, like that was something that was but,
yeah. I'm not sure that Shanahan is really like the guy who like coaches quarterbacks to be better. I think he is more of like, you need to have the fundamentals down and be smart, and then you can run his offense and he'll make you look better that way. As opposed to coaching a quarterback up and making them a better player like an Andy Reid or something does, right? You see Andy Reid coach up quarterbacks or whatever, right? Dredis says, remember AOC with no offensive coaching, with 3-1 last 4 games, with 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, no reps in midseason, and he was handcuffed by a bad offense. This is true.
Yeah. Hey, yo, I have to jam out of here, brother. I just got the eye again, so that's the
You got the final eye. Yeah.
Or else I'm gonna be outside. But
hey,
I just want to give a shout out to the people here watching, and you, man. You're putting out great content, and your lives are on fire. And next weekend for sure, worst comes to worst on a Sunday, bro. Yeah, man. We'll do this. Me, you, Raider D, man, and we'll get it up, man. But thank you, brother, for
absolutely
allowing me, to be here, brother. It's always a pleasure and an honor. And thank you, man.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for letting me steal you from your family for a little bit, and for all your brilliance, man. Yeah. Okay,
have
a good night,
brother. All right, brother.
Absolutely.
Peace out, everybody. Salute, nation.
Peace out. So, nation, I'm going to stay with you until we finish out these questions because I'm committed to this chat. You guys are awesome. So let's get these finished up. My dad says, of course, you stay with AOC. And if he's undefeated, to gain respect. Okay. Mike Down says, I'll say this, Aiden O'Connell has been at the complex all off season. I bet he starts week 1. I would take that bet. Well, no, I agree. I would not take that bet, actually. So it's pretty funny. Raise Rebel, you can't expect any quarterback, even Tom Brady, to make a throw when the defender knows what the player is and what's coming. I think we're talking about what the play is and what's coming. Talking about the Super Bowl with Gannon. Yes. Gannon was, he says he's better than Stabler. We just got robbed a couple of seasons. Wow, Mike, that's a big statement. We're going to have to talk about that next live. That's a big statement. Pop says the only rookie quarterback that played better was the Texans quarterback, and he took all the first string snaps. AOC wasn't even supposed to play in his rookie season. True that. And his best talent is knowing the playbook and being able to execute. So I think we're going to see a lot of what makes him special this season. Now he's had a chance to kind of settle in. So Raiders Rebel says, let's face it, to be realistic, John Gruden pretty much made Rich Gannon's career. He's not that great of a quarterback before he came to the Raiders. This is true. Chris Ritter says Lynch came off the field and said Gruden, just like you said the play was. Okay, yeah. So I think most of us believe that Rich Gannon is not really at fault for that Super Bowl loss, but Ritter D, it's okay. He's going to be okay. We'll just, it's okay. Let's see. Ernest says AOC starter and winner of 12 games. He'll beat KC in the championship game, but lose both regular season games to KC by a total of 4 points. Wow, calling it on the head. Ernest is hot today, so maybe he's on to something, but we'll see. That would be interesting. That would be trying. I would not like that until we won the playoff game, and then I would like it. So. Mike Downs, let's see, 15, quite a bit older. Not sure what that's about. Me says ASU is a true dog for him. To change his number to 12 tells me a lot about his confidence. Yeah. Not scared of the comparisons. That's for sure. Mike Downs says not even close. Rich Gannon is 10 times better than Carr. No comment. Plunkett, Stabler, LaMonica, way better than Carr. Yes, for sure. David Funk, AOC needs to start working out the lower body. I seen a video of him at the golf event he attended. My boys' calves are MIA. Oh, wow. That's funny. Well, that would mess with your mobility if you got the little baby calves. So hopefully he salsaed his way into more defined calf muscles. There we go. Chris Raiders says, agree Gannon was a better West Coast offense quarterback than Carr. Cavs, we know what you mean there. Derek Carr sucked one good year, proved me wrong. Oh boy. Me. You're gonna have him coming for you, bro. That's a little much. Rich Gannon was a man and had a leader, and that's the biggest difference. Okay, yeah, he was definitely a leader. Rich Gannon came in and took all the toys out of the locker room famously. When he noticed that the Raiders were like playing pool, he stole all the pool balls and kept them in his locker. Definitely a leader. Let's see, Raiders Rebel. No matter what anybody says about Derek Carr, he holds records for this franchise, and nobody can ever take that from him. Facts. Derek Carr in 2021 with chaos, worse offense, bad O-line, 100 run throw as his main receiver, and went toe-to-toe with Burrow in the playoffs until he spiked the ball at the wrong time. But yes, refs cost us that game with a phantom touchdown also. So really, it's just par for the course, right? Refs cost us one, and then we just kind of flub one away and then lose a game. But that's the old Raiders. That's not us anymore. So Raiders Rebel, well, AOC might be great. I think that's what he's saying. Rich Gannon never cried after a game. Ouch. A-Train, spear him in the face. I think he's talking about how it used to be okay to spear players. I don't think it was ever okay to spear in the face, A-Train. The head slap was okay, but spearing in the face, I believe, has always been illegal. Courtney Garrett says Carr's leg injury ruined his whole confidence and thought process. Laugh aloud. He started throwing the ball away without any pressure coming at him. Absolutely. Me and Raider DD talked about this. He was not mentally the same after having his leg break, and then my dad makes a point. He comes back the next year and then breaks his back early in the season. It's just that's no good. Dradis says, never talk about a quarterback without talking about the team and the coaching around them as being better than another. I think this is a Carr defense. Okay, sure. Mike Downs, I don't know. Rich Gannon got picked up and body slammed on his shoulder by the Goose. He did get, let's not talk about that game. Shannon Sharp catching a slant. Matt Renovich, Carr is too inconsistent and horrible in the red zone. Chris Rader says Carr won't make it to that game. A lot of Carr talk here. Mike Downs says, yes, you can in some ways. Look how many one-handed catches we see all the time now. That was weird back in the day. Okay, I think he's saying that the receiving is better nowadays. I don't care if we win by one. Can we get over the Derek Carr thing? Matt Rivers says Carr's writing checks he can't cash. Yeah, I don't think he wants to mess with Mad Max. People keep saying revenge game. This is not a revenge game for us. We did KC dirty no matter what anybody says. This is a revenge game for him. I see him balling out. I wish I could agree with you, Raiders Rebel. I just don't see that. I think that the pressure from our defensive line is going to be too much for him. And he's going to get smacked around. So there's just a really good defense. It's a really good defense. So top 5 easily. So A-Train says, oh my God, this is amazing. It is. It is, A-Train. We're all here together. Mike Downs, let's start talking about how we're going to beat KC. We are. Yes, we've been talking about it. FKC, we're coming for the division. That's right. We're going to win a division. And then, sorry about the slang. No, we're good here. We're all adults. It's not a kid's show. If there's kids in here, sorry. It's not a kid's show. 9 years of sadness is good enough for me. DC fakes an injury so you won't have to play it. See, I don't. That's rough. I don't think that's true. Can anyone imagine Carr trying to wink and butter up Max, but then he gets smashed by Christian Wilkins? Yeah. That's the problem. That he's not friends with Christian Wilkins. So. Rebel A-Train. The 1 year we had a solid team around Carr, we made it to the playoffs. We were 11-4 with him. Other than that, he had no weapons. They traded Gabe Jackson. That was in for Carr. Okay, we've been down this road before. A-Train put Minshew on the Saints, and he has a better season than Carr. Wow. Okay. Wow. Aiden O'Connell, secret power. He's a cold weather quarterback. Big, important one there. Cold weather quarterback. Played at Purdue. That has been an issue previously with another player who we won't talk about because we've been talking about him too much. Right, Chris for Raiders, that McDummy that ruins quarterbacks, and suppose the quarterback was sure. Okay, yeah. Tony, yes, I agree. Raiders Rebel, his family and him are still Raiders fans. He will retire a Raider, I believe. That's right. Once a Raider, always. It's just for now. He should fail miserably until he doesn't play for the other teams. Courtney says, I would rather see Mac retire as a Raider than Carr. Mac was traded by Gruden. Carr left on his own and made sure the Raiders didn't get any draft capital for him. This is a good point. Although Mac has had chances to come back and has not. So I wonder how he feels about the Raiders organization after what happened with that trade. So Mike Downs, that's awesome, but can't wait. Let's see. But let's talk about now. Hayden O'Connor will go down as one of the great. Okay, you think Aiden's going to be one of the great Raider quarterbacks? Okay. What's up, GMX? What's up? We have to support him. I believe that's true. Christopher Raider says Carr can come back to the Raiders, throw one pass, and retire from football. Does he have to throw a pass? Can he just do the press conference thing? Tony Shepard, salute. And I will pass the message on to Raider D. We will win the West. I believe that's true. Dreda says, stop blaming Carr for McDaniels. He's the worst. Okay. I think McDaniels is definitely the worst. Still open to fighting him at any point. So if you hear this, Josh, let's get it down. We can get in a squared circle. We can make it for charity. Anytime. For real. And that's not even a joke. Carr is not with the Raiders because of McDaniels. This is true. Well, partially. There was 8 other years, but okay. Mike Downs, great drama talk. Let's talk about how we're going to beat KC. Yes. Let's see. 1-day contract for him. What's in his demand for sure? Let's see. We need to renegotiate his contract now. I don't see the Raiders paying in $40 million next year. Maybe we're talking about Kuntz. Laube is going to start as our kick returner and go from there. Yeah, he could start there. He might end somewhere else. So, Amir might be a surprise cut, guys. I know Raider D feels differently, but he might be a surprise cut. Dude had a losing record. This is Carr. Carr is the only quarterback to start significant games for the Raiders and have a losing record. Sheffer said, totally expect and prepared to play FKC 3 times. Home playoff win against those folks. We'll say folks. Mike Downs. That is effing cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I don't want Derek Carr near our organization until he retires Raider. That's fair. Yeah. Tony says salute to Matt M. What's up, Matt M? We got fans in the chat. Courtney says, Mike, we're saying the same thing. Okay, I guess you guys were going over something. And GeoMX says the problem the Raiders have had the last 20 years has been coaching. On paper, our roster has always been good, but our coaching has been disastrous. This is true. Let's see. Who do y'all see not making this roster that was on it last year? Okay, so I already went with Amir Abdullah. Who else might not make the team? Sam Webb is in trouble. Everybody that played running back on our team last year is in trouble, I guess, because we probably only keeping 4. Let's see. Christian Wilkerson, DJ Turner, those guys are in trouble. Let's see. Yeah, just naming some guys. I'm sure there's more, but yeah. So let's see. Dredas, our defense was best in the league over 9 games with AP. It should have been better. It should be better after adding Wilkins. This is true. Courtney says, can't double anymore because all of our weapons are dangerous, now including Bowers, Laube, Gallup, Guyton. Absolutely. So, yeah. I think we're kind of getting caught up here. See, Mike Downs, there's been mobile quarterbacks every era in football. It's not new. Gentlemen, I want my quarterback accurate for 20 yards. There you go. This is true. It's true. Courtney says, enjoyed the show and the content. Enjoyed you guys. You guys are awesome. Man. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Let's see. Maybe 1 or 2 comments are left here. Courtney says, last smart comment for me. Iron sharpens iron. The better our defense looks, it forces our quarterbacks and offensive weapons to have to bring it, which will keep everyone on their toes, including the coaches. Yeah, absolutely. You're going against the best in practice. That can only help. Raiders Rebel says, I think I'm going to make some easy money and bet against every team. Raiders play the following week because they will not be 100%. Nice. So salute to Nation. Let's see what Pops has to say. Some people just have small calves, like most sprinters. There's the track coach coming out, my dad. Slimmer calves help with speed. Thick calves help for lifting. This is true. True, Mr. Beavers. Good stuff. And Hot Beavers. What's up, Ryan? So it looks like we're pretty caught up here. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody's important chats. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody was heard. You guys, next time, make sure you guys call in too, because I want to see your pretty faces, and we can go back and forth and get really deep sometimes. So, and this was awesome. It's much longer than I thought it was going to be. Thank you guys so much. But we're going to go ahead and head out. So, yeah, stay hot, and good night now.